when I initially started the YouTube channel, it was more of a FU to Cuyahoga County. If you watch like my earlier episodes, it's all FU to the Cuyahoga County prosecutor. And then at some point, I'm like, I'm getting bored with this. And so I'm like, the only thing I'm good at is homicide. And so at some point, somebody had reached out to me about the Bryon Macron case. And they had actually reached out to me when I was chief. But when I looked at the investigation, I'm like, man, this is like a bad political thing as chief, because I could see that the investigation was pretty poor, and I didn't want that issue as I was an active chief.
Welcome to the night zone, hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers, ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw till the battle's won. Fitness tips to faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air. Every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table, come and pull up a chair. Join the brotherhood, words laid bare. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night Podcast. As always, I am your host, Will McEwen, and to my left is David. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Good evening, everyone.
So 2 weeks ago, an interesting thing dropped onto my lap, and that was the Bryon Macron case. And if you guys have been listening, we had George Starsky on, who's writing a book and has his opinions based off of kind of the narrative that's already been displayed out there by the law enforcement agencies that have done the investigating through the course of the case. And got a lot of feedback on it. Everybody had some ideas on where to get some additional information. So tonight, we're fortunate enough to get to do a collaboration with the one and only infamous ex-chief. So welcome aboard, Scott.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. And like I said, we weren't recording. This is a sick studio. I'm totally envious. So.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm glad you made the trip out. I know it's hard. Like obviously, when you're used to doing your own thing, and then you're coming on to someone else. But I think there's more to you than just your investigation on this Macron case, right? Because this isn't just what you do. You do ultimately multiple, and we uncovered the one that you're talking about. We'll talk about a little bit later. But let's start about your beginnings. For instance, at one point you were a rookie cop.
Yes.
Where was that at? How did that all take place? Because I just found out you and I went to the same high school. So
yes.
Cloverleaf grads. All right. How did you become a rookie? Yeah, that's right. Go
all right.
Colts. They're actually a productive team now. But yeah, how did that start?
So, I've worked for like multiple agencies, actually, a bunch of small agencies. I think I actually started in West Salem and Creston, which aren't far from here.
They used to have one cop patrol. Was that you?
That was me. And then at some point, I got hired at Put-in Bay, and that's actually where I worked with the current Sheriff Terry Grace. He and I worked at Put-in Bay together, and that was actually I was there for they considered it seasonal full time, so I would be there from like April-ish up until after Halloween, right around this time actually, and then. You would get laid off and then back in April. So I was up there for, I think, maybe 4 or 5 years.
That must have been tough.
It was very difficult. I don't think that I would be married to this day if I were still working there. So, yeah,
investigating something.
Yes.
Golf carts in the lake and
bikinis.
Yeah, and bikinis.
Then at some point, I think in '99, well, was in '99, I became unfortunate or fortunate. I don't know. I got hired in East Cleveland. I started actually as a traffic officer. They had this designation. It was called BPO, Beat Patrol Officer, and our main task was traffic enforcement. We did other calls for service, but mostly traffic. And then I think probably about a year or two later, I got hired on civil service, got put on the road, and I think in 2001, I took a test to become sergeant, and at the time I was actually big into the union. I was the FOP president at that time, and the mayor and I at that time did not get along whatsoever. So I actually tested number 1 on the sergeant's exam. After oral interviews, I came in number 3, and the mayor basically came right out and said, "Hey, I'm not going to promote you." So you're yeah. So at that point, the chief at the time was basically like, "Hey, I know that this isn't what you want to do," because back then, we were on the road, and we thought the detective bureau was a bunch of slackers that, I don't want to go up and do paperwork. But the chief was like, "Listen, I can see you're disgruntled. You need to get out of here. Do you want to go up to the detective bureau?" And again, I didn't want to do it, but I'm like, all right, screw it, I'll do it. So I initially went up there, got assigned, it was called general duty. It was basically, we would process any arrest, a felony arrest that would come in, and we would process the person, interview him, whatever, and send it down basically to get indicted. And then at some point, I must have been doing pretty good, because the detective bureau commander came to me and was like, "Hey, we have, a bunch of cold cases. We're thinking about doing a cold case squad. Would you, be interested in that?" So I absolutely. So I went in and started doing some cold cases. And then before I knew it, I was in charge of the major crimes unit, which essentially was like serious robberies, homicides, kidnappings, things like that.
Full out investigations that you're
Yes.
overseeing. So let me ask you this. Let's go back to cold cases, because obviously that's how we're here tonight. But do you remember some of the first cold cases that just were really caught your attention and were like, "This is what I want to do"?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if the question is geared specifically to the case.
Well, is there just one that ignited a passion in investigation? Do you remember any specific case that was like, "I want to do this"?
Yes. There's actually still 2 cases that I recall to this day that I was never able to close. It's just, there were a lot of failures initially, essentially in the investigation. And we'll probably talk about that here in a second. But, so you're basically tasked with, hey, you got to figure this out. You got to solve it. One of them was actually, not you're putting me on the spot here. I'm trying to actually remember what her name. I've been trying to remember her name since I started this. But it was a female. She actually was an semi-actress. She was in the what's the Al Pacino movie? The gangster Al Pacino movie.
Scarface?
Scarface. Thank you.
Oh, really?
She was actually an extra, and not an extra. She had minor parts in the.
Right,
in the
Her name wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer, though, right?
No.
Okay, because I think she's still alive. Last I checked my fantasies, but anyway.
Apparently, in the 80s, she got hooked on cocaine, and she graduated to the point of she couldn't afford cocaine anymore, so she graduated to crack cocaine, and somehow ends up in East Cleveland, Ohio, where she's buying crack cocaine, and she ends up getting killed on one of the intersections there. But it was just, to me, it was, sort of a sad story. You have somebody that's on top of the world, essentially. She's an actress doing really well for herself, and then this happens. And it was just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it tugged at my heartstrings, and it was one of those cases that I wasn't able to clear, but something that was actually the first case that was assigned to me. So,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's, just that thought, because it was your first experience with the detective bureau, right? Was cold cases, where you were actually leading or doing the investigating rather than just processing it, or no?
No, general duty. You pretty much did not do any. You might do a minor follow up where you might go out and talk to whoever got robbed or whatever, the victim or whatever. But no, you were not doing any serious investigation.
So cold cases is your first shot at this. Is there a training class for that? Do they send you to how to investigate cold cases, or is this kind of instinct and a lot of extra legwork?
A lot of on the job training. They actually did. I actually do have a lot of certifications. But I when I was initially assigned, I didn't have any training. it was sort of just thrown together. Hey, try to figure this out. But later on, once I got into like homicide, I went to a lot of trading at that point.
Right, sure. And then you take over the unit eventually, major crimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Big change dealing with old cases versus fresh cases as far as a way of looking at things.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, from cold case, you're basically looking at the work product of somebody else. And honestly, I think it really benefited me because I was able to see the errors from these cold cases. Wow, I wouldn't do things like that. So when I then started getting fresh homicides, yeah, absolutely. I sort of knew, okay, well, this is the way I want to go. So.
Yeah, I'd imagine when you're looking at that stuff, there's so many errors that are made in really any case, whether it's a crime scene, not asking the right. I mean, how many times did you look at a case and be like, God, why didn't you just ask one more fucking question?
Or why did I ask that question?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. All the time.
So yeah, prepping you for the next position, that worked out really well. How long were you overseeing major crimes, and what was that kind of process for you?
I think I was there for about 8-ish years. I literally I wasn't like solely primary. We referred to it as primary, like if you were assigned a homicide and it was your homicide, it was primary. So I was probably a primary for a little over 100 homicides, but I've probably worked hundreds of homicides. Just wasn't primary. It was just, you know, additional unit, or not additional unit, but additional detective or whatever on a case that might, you know, assist someone else.
So it's important to know too, because obviously part of the podcast we're going to talk about this Bryon Macron case and all the investigative work that you've done, and obviously it's cold case work. But it's not like you're just some regular guy who started a YouTube channel and you're doing investigations. Like, you've got pretty extensive experience, not just on cold cases, but just cases in general, and what evidence looks like and how to look at specific evidence, and multiple murder cases, I'm presuming, throughout the hundreds of cases that you saw. So different coroners reports, so when people question, you know, your ability to look at evidence or things like that, no, you have the experience being in that department.
I was born to solve. I mean, I'm not. I say it facetiously, but it's not. It was something that I was in passion to do. It was something I was very good at. Playing baseball at Cloverleaf, I was not good at, but solving homicides, I was. I had higher average. I think I was 87-ish% clearance rate, which was, I think the national average at that point was like 72%. So I was kicking butt.
That's awesome. And then what was the next step for you then? Is that where you went to chief at that point?
No, I became Detective Bureau Commander, and that's where it was sort of a slight step back because, again, I wanted to be a homicide investigator. I had no ambition of supervising people. So I became Detective Bureau Commander, then eventually became captain, which was even worse because now not only am I supervising detectives, I'm supervising, road guys now again at this point. And I haven't been on the road for like 7 years, and then chief. But yeah.
So what was it like moving to chief? Because chief over East Cleveland Police Department?
Yes.
That's not like a little police department in a little town, right? I mean, it's not like there's like a lack of things to oversee there.
It was extremely hectic the entire time. I actually tell the story. So I have this Apple Watch, and it's got a heart rate monitor on it. And since I have not been in East Cleveland, this watch has not gone off once. But once, when I became chief, man, this thing was going off like it seemed like every 5 minutes my heart rate was just going through.
I'm keeping an eye on it at this distance, just in this conversation about all of these things.
So let's before we get into the next step, let's talk about, you obviously just talked about the rise, but there was a slip, right? Those who know your story,
yes.
The infamous ex-chief, there's a reason.
And we only know just what is on the news.
I literally saw a 1 minute clip of your sentencing, years back or whatever. But I mean, it had to be something to go kind of from the top and then to be in the public spectrum for something completely different.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know how you want to
have you
go down this aisle.
Yeah, whatever you want to share. I don't know if you've shared it. You've probably told the story maybe on your own channel before, but if you want to highlight it for us, just kind of.
So essentially, to be objective, I have no idea what happened. There was like 13 officers that were indicted. I was the first to be indicted. Mine was actually I think I was the only officer that was indicted not for something police related. Mine was taxes. And again, I don't know how much detail you want. I'm going through trial, and at some point the judge stops the trial and ends up talking to everybody. I had more charges than Al Capone had. I had, I think 26.
All around taxes?
All taxes.
Was this like a side business? Or
Yes.
Okay, so it was related around taxes around a side business.
Yes.
So was that all part of like this mass police investigation that was taking place behind scenes? They were just looking for ways to clean up the department type thing?
Yes.
And
correct.
you got caught in the whirlwind with a
Yes.
side business.
Yes.
So all related around taxes. It wasn't like you were hiding evidence on your job or anything like that. It was more so of like, I don't like paying Uncle Sam, so.
Exactly. But that's not actually the case.
Right,
But
right.
And again, at some point, the judge stops the trial. He goes back, has a conference with everybody in the back, and they come back out. And my attorney's like, "Listen, the judge is not happy with the prosecutors. He wants them to make you some sort of plea offer, and he wants you to take it." And I'm like, "What does that exactly mean?" Because we haven't even gotten to tell my side of the story here yet. You know, I had an accountant that was actually doing this for me, and the attorney was basically like, "Hey, you can either continue to take it to trial, piss the judge. I'm sorry, am I lying? I don't. You can irritate the judge or roll the dice and see what happens." And at that point, I had actually asked for a trial by judge because I didn't want a jury. Cuyahoga County does not like police officers, so I was pretty well convinced that a jury was going to find me guilty regardless. And so essentially, I took out of 24 charges, I took one charge.
Gotcha. So at that point, police career over?
Yes. Well,
I mean, by
yes.
choice as well, right? Like, I mean, yes, you lost your position there as the chief, but then was at that point you were like, I got to do something else, or I want to do something else?
Yes. So, I mean, the interesting thing is I actually didn't lose my pension or anything. So I was still able to retire.
Okay.
And at that point, I just basically became bored. And I'm like, listen, you know, the only thing that I'm good at is solving homicides, and so I can't do that anymore. And so I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna throw this. It wasn't even. I think when I initially started the YouTube channel, it was more of a FU to Cuyahoga County. If you watch like my earlier episodes, it's all FU to the Cuyahoga County prosecutor. And then at some point, I'm like, I'm getting bored with this. And so I'm like, the only thing I'm good at is homicide. And so at some point, somebody had reached out to me about the Bryon Macron case. And they had actually reached out to me when I was chief. But when I looked at the investigation, I'm like, man, this is like a bad political thing as chief, because I could see that the investigation was pretty poor. And I didn't want, that issue as I was an active chief.
So, all right, we're gonna get into Macron then, I guess. Let's dive down this. So, any knowledge of Macron before you were reached out to as chief? Like, did you know him personally at any level or anything like that?
No.
So it was somebody reached out to you, which is as a chief of police of Cleveland, East Cleveland. I'm surprised it went all the way out to you, but I'm assuming they just wanted to get it away from local at that point.
I think at that point, I'm just assuming. I mean, if you roll back media. And you search prior to my indictment, my face was pretty well known.
Gotcha.
For homicide investigations. So I'm assuming that's
what kind of led
how they
that
reached
person
out.
to.
I don't know.
So they reach out to you, you look at it, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to touch this.
At that point, I was active.
And it's probably out of your jurisdiction. Can you even reopen
Well, no,
that
I
case?
wouldn't have been able to officially look at it
Right,
anyways.
yeah, right. You could have just maybe nudged somebody else
Correct.
type thing.
Yeah. But I didn't want to touch it at that point. It was a very political. I could see that it would turn into something very bad probably as an active chief. And so when I wasn't chief anymore, they reached out to me again. And you were talking about like the first time, the only thing I even knew about Bryon Macron, I probably knew a little bit more than you did. My parents had called me at some point, hey, yeah, trustee got killed, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, you know, this is rural. I'm like, yeah, they'll do a cell phone dump. They'll have that thing solved in like a week. And, I don't know, 5-6 years go by, and then they're recontacting me again. I'm like, that thing's not solved. And I was I didn't even honestly keep up with it.
So when did you start your YouTube channel?
Oh boy. It's I don't even think it's actually been a year at this point.
Oh, really? So it's a fresh
you can
channel.
literally click on oldest right there, and it'll go to the oldest, and you'll have pretty close to at least when the first video.
Yeah, just about a year ago.
Yeah, 1
so
year ago.
pretty much right there. This is probably the first
horrible
one.
view on that one there.
Oh, this is the original. This is
Yeah.
the original. Look at the logo.
So hang on, you gotta go back to the logo. So originally, there was another officer that was indicted. He and I were doing it together,
Oh, that's why.
and then his wife threw a fit. We don't need any more issues. So that's why. But I had already like released that video, so I like had to go back, edit his voice out. And then that's how I'm not graphically inclined, so I'm like scratching his name off the. Yeah.
So it's only a year old that you started doing this, and you're like, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Obviously, it starts off with this, and then is the first case you openly like start to investigate on YouTube the Bryon Macron case? Then
Actually, I don't think. I think it was probably because I just saw. I think it was Don Pasella. That's another interesting case that was out of Parma. She actually worked for the Cuyahoga County prosecutor's office, and she was actually in the process. She was actually a whistleblower, and she was going to testify on behalf of somebody. And the night before she was to testify, she ends up mysteriously dead in her apartment. So that's another interesting thing.
Really?
Another
Yeah.
interesting case. But
people just ended up disappeared or murdered. All right, so then. Right after that, I presume. Let's
Yes,
see.
after
I'm
that,
just
then,
looking because this is all
that's Tony Viola.
Justice for the Don.
Don, yep.
That is for that story.
Don
correct?
Pasella. Yes.
Okay. All right, where are we at here? For you guys that I'm looking and scrolling on the Ex Chiefs podcast here.
At some point, I was like trying to do like dual things. Like I was the East Canton officer. She got fired for. I think I can't remember if she was in a pursuit or she used, if she discharged her weapon. I can't remember now at this point, but she was terminated. I felt it was unjust termination, so I was covering that.
I see at the beginning you were utilizing what's it called? What's the vidIQ to create, or were you using something else to create your
The thumbnails? Yeah. I still honestly use some vidIQ sometimes.
I use vidIQ. Well, I use vidIQ or Pixels is one that I've been playing with lately because I just don't have the talent for that. I mean, some of these people that create these things, it's like, that is incredible. How did you do that?
Everybody keeps telling me
run a
chat
class.
BTP, but every time I try to use it, it misspells whatever word
Everything.
I'm trying to use. And
Everything. Yeah, it's a. I'm just not there yet.
My feeling about Chat GPT is that it's not a computer. There's 1,000 Chinese people sitting in a room doing nothing but waiting for your text.
And just to tell us whatever that they want us to do.
And like they're chingao, and then they go and they start typing.
So it looks like you did quite a bit of different stuff just on, shootings or different justice issues across the area.
The Janice Christensen murder, I did that. And I actually just was contacted by the coroner's office of Arizona. They asked if they could use my videos for their training.
No kidding.
So I thought that was sort of cool. But
That is pretty cool.
Overall, obviously today we're going to talk a lot about Bryon, but overall, what's your mission out there? Like, what are you after?
My mission is to give people a voice that normally don't have a voice, with cases that are essentially, I don't want to go into it until you're ready, but like the Christion Olson case, where it seems like police, for whatever reason, have stalled or are stalling, aren't keeping up with the family. So my mission is to give a voice to those who don't have one.
Makes sense. Well, and the other aspect of it is it's just good to have somebody that looks at somebody from a third eyeball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to say, because while you're looking at it more, I feel like a cop is looking at to solve the crime because that's his job. When you're involved with the family or involved in the case from a side of like, I want to actually solve this because I think there's a different passion. Passion's fueling that, right?
Yes.
Because you just love working on these crimes. And obviously, hopefully, it's, you get monetized through YouTube and you start to eventually earn a living doing that. But ultimately, when you started this, I mean, there's a chance that nobody was ever going to watch you, but you were doing what you love to do.
Absolutely. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I mean, you look at some of the, I am monetized now. I don't know.
Right.
And to do it under a year, from what I understand, is quite a phenomena.
Yeah.
If you look at like that video only has 71 views still.
Yeah.
So obviously that sucked for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, nobody nobody cared.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I mean, you as a creator / detective / you start to be like, I need help with these titles apparently because nobody cares, or you know.
And I think I guess it's also sort of what it's aggravating about this case is because everybody's like, oh, he's doing it for profit. Well, I mean, I want to be able to pay the expense. I'm not making a huge amount of money off even with the views I'm getting today. My videos are usually averaging between 4 and 6-ish thousand views. I make a little bit of money, but it's not a lot. And
Right.
so, but again, there must be a bunch of socialists out there that think that,
We spent, if you happen to watch the episode that we did last night, we spent close to 2 hours talking about the profitability at hospitals. Just to put it in perspective, that's the biggest misconception. People think that these are just operated for fun or on monopoly money or something, and they don't understand that the cost of insurance in connection with the cost of the recent graduated doctors who make $450,000 a year here, which is more than a doctor from Russia, China, Canada, and the UK combined, by the way. People just, they want to take a label like, oh, you're doing this to profit. Well, everything we're doing here is to a profit. But I can tell you this, I'm looking at $8,000 worth of cameras right here.
you guys by far, and I don't know obviously I don't think they can't see it. I'm looking at if you guys could, the viewers, if you guys could see, it's sick. I love this studio. And the amount of money you have in this. Yeah.
Yeah. And you ultimately do it because you're like, you know what? I'm going to invest in it now. Hopefully one day it returns a favor, but if not, it's okay. I'm passionate about it. I enjoy doing this. It's a blast. We get to talk to so many different people. And obviously now we get to meet you and hear your story. And I tell him every time after a podcast, it was just fun I just like the fact that we just sat around a table for 3 hours without cell phones in our hands and actually have a conversation with other people. It's like when you get done with that, it's like, I'm exhausted. Yeah. I'm like, I get done with these and my wife's like, you want to watch TV for a little bit? I'm like, I am out. That was mentally extremely stimulating.
It's a good exhausted.
Yes.
It's like going to the gym, but it's a mental gym.
Yeah, then there's times you watch back an episode and you're like, God, dude, what the fuck was I saying? That didn't even make sense. 2 hours in and I'm mumbling into my microphone for 10 minutes. But so ultimately you did it for a couple of months and then you come across or start getting involved in the Bryon Macron case.
Yes.
What do you remember what it was like the day you're like, all right, I'm going to dive into this? Do you remember that day or does anything stick out about that where you're like, I'm in?
It might be able to refresh if you were to find my video, but I just remember that it was an exorbitant amount, and I'm going to go through it explained because there is. I think there is. I just backed up all of my public records and investigations on this thing. There are 76 gig worth of information, and I believe, and it's on the Discord. I always ask people to please don't take my word for it.
Right.
I'm the convicted guy. Don't take my word for it. Go to Discord and find it yourself and see whether I'm telling you the truth or not. So
which we'll put a link down below too, so they could click on it and get to the Discord and see all the evidence that, for some of it we'll put on the computer while we're doing this. But for those of you who want to dig deep, we'll make sure that's out there for you.
But out of the 76 gig worth of information, I'm going to show you, I think it's 42 or 47 pages. And that's the actual complete report.
The initial report.
So you were asking do I remember going into the, from the beginning from Bryon Macron. And what I recall is looking at the initial report and thinking to myself, who the hell did this? Because it's almost to the point of negligence. The lack of work that was produced into the report. So going back to your experience as a chief or as head of detectives, what does the typical investigation initial report look like? So page-wise, you mentioned 47 pages. So, in homicides or suicide or whatever investigation you're doing, what is the typical length of a report? Is there a kind of you're not looking at less than 100 pages? Or you're talking hundreds of, and that's just a simple, a simple investigation, a simple homicide where it's on camera. I'm at a grocery store and some guy comes up and shoots you in the head with a gun. Okay. Everything's on video. There's really not too much to it, but you're still going to look at probably 200 pages of supplements from something that's definitive.
Okay.
A case like this, I would venture to say a case like this would probably should be in the thousands of pages.
And now when you say not overall, you're saying in the initial investigation by the local sheriff department.
What?
I just want to understand, like when you say the report, because I mean, there's obviously more than 47 pages of documents, right? And
I think you said you're going to show us 47 pages
Yeah,
today.
so
He's not saying it's 47.
I don't know if you
Is that what
can
you
open up. There's a file. It's a Macron report redacted.
Hold on a second. Let me find this here. Macron report. Yeah, I got it right here.
All right. So the first couple pages,
Hold on one
each
second.
police department may refer
it
to.
up.
Oop,
It's okay. I want to pull it up because I want to actually have it up here. Can you do me a favor and timestamp this, David, just so I have an idea like where we're at in that? What is that? 30 minutes roughly.
Yeah.
All right. Come on here. What are you doing to me? You gotta be kidding me. Love it when it does this.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
So I don't know what Medina County calls this. In East Cleveland, we were referred to the first couple of pages. That would be an offense incident report.
Okay.
And those are the reports, generally just the who, what, when, why information of a report.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I mean, you have the location, the time, says suspicious person for, I don't know why that's labeled suspicious person, but says it's under investigation. Has a list of people. Now,
So here it says Victoria was under investigation. Obviously, the wife is typically the first. Is that why?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. Anybody that's close to the victim is going to be automatically.
Right.
Um,
And then who are these people that we have listed below?
So some of them I don't honestly know. So if you, a lot of them have been brought up into the report. Some of them are from, they used to work for the fire department.
Gotcha.
They were township trustees or employees. I think Shelby Buell, I think worked for the Lafayette Township. Obviously, Linda Bowers.
And these are all public records, so we're not
yes,
sharing
yes,
anything
correct.
that's not yet.
Richard Evans was.
Logan Costello?
Yes, I don't know his.
Is that the son of Michael, I presume?
Here's
What was the slide back up? What was the DOB? That's too
It was
far.
92.
Could be a child.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I don't know.
So here is the irritating thing. There's no, many of these names, you'll go through, and I said 47, it's actually 42. You'll go through the 42 pages of investigation, and half of these names will not appear. You have no idea why they're here.
Really? Like they're not listed there as interviewees. They're
Nope.
not listed there as, know. So you don't even know why they were on the report.
Correct. There's a guy, and I don't mean to call him out, but they're like right here, Eric Niger. Now, I've actually left several cards at his house because I would love to talk to him because I'm trying to figure out, why is your name in this report? I have no idea.
Have you called quite a few of these people or reached out to a lot of these people that
Yes.
aren't mentioned in the report? What do you get? Did you get anything from
Mostly I get a stone door. I
Yeah.
mean, most
They
of
don't
them
wanna
want
deal with
nothing
it.
to do with this case.
I mean, yeah, I can understand
Um,
that for a multitude of reasons.
Um,
But yeah, there's a ton of names in here.
and again, most of them you'll go through that 42 pages. So once you get past this initial part,
Which is
these are what's referred to as supplements. So you can see.
all right. So this is the initial narrative from the original sheriff report that they called to the scene, correct? Stanford? Is that
Yes.
Right.
To clarify, he's not the sheriff.
He was
He'd be
not
a-
a sheriff.
is a deputy.
He is
Deputy.
a deputy. He is not
Yeah,
the
yeah, it's
sheriff.
correct. Sheriff's Department. Sorry.
Correcting your nomenclature there.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so he received the original phone call at 7:26 is when it says. Oh, interesting.
Now there is, I actually did watch that portion, and you actually called it out, and I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking of it correctly but I'll tell you this: when I was on the road, we were sectored off. I was originally assigned to A sector, and the whole point of the job was to get to know your residents in that sector, get to know your businesses in that sector, and a lot of people had my cell phone, so I can't necessarily. Everybody is
Well, especially
they're grossly concerned about the fact that they called him directly.
Yes. Well, my thought of it was, and I don't know if you saw that part, but my thought of it was, okay, well, one, they're trustees, right? It's the local government that probably has a close relationship with him because of that contract that's with the trustees or with the township. So my thought was that's probably who they call whenever they have an issue. From the township office, right?
Well,
if there's some suspicious activity out at this site, can you go check it out? I have a business up the road that's getting some complaints. When you call, that's probably who they're calling. For all I know, he could have been on speed dial. He could have been the guy that's the number they have. So my thought was, yeah, of course you call 911, but ultimately I'm trying to think of myself like, let's say, for instance, the mayor of Cleveland. Do you think they call 911 or do you think they call one of the chief of police first? And my thought was they probably call the chief of police first.
Mayor of Cleveland just opens his door and yells at his detail to start shooting. That's how that works.
Well,
but
I mean, I'm just, you know what I mean? If I have to call the police, I'm probably going to be like, hey, chief, I need somebody here right now. I got some stuff going on before I call 911 and get stuck in a twin. So just my thoughts.
And to clarify, and I don't want to get too much into the details, but the they don't actually. I have the recording; it's in the files. I didn't copy it.
Are you talking of the actual interview
of the call?
Oh, of the call. Okay.
And it did not actually go. It wasn't to his cell. It still went to the sheriff's department. So what I think it is. The sheriff's department probably had a number for Lafayette Township. A lot of sheriff's departments, when they patrol other municipalities, they have like a specific number that those residents call. So I don't even think that they necessarily called him directly. They called a number that was assigned to Lafayette Township,
that's what I thought.
Went to the sheriff's department, and you can actually hear Rick Evans, which I have interviewed. Rick Evans basically comes out and says, he's very boisterous on the phone. I mean, he... Get me Jim Sanford. And then you can actually hear the attitude reflecting back into the dispatcher's voice. She's like, who do you think you're talking to? And she's like, what? And he's like, get Jim Sanford on the phone. And I mean, so
he called dispatch first, or it went through dispatch.
Yes, correct.
So it's not like he called Jim Sanford's cell phone.
Correct.
Okay. And that makes sense.
well, it still doesn't make sense, but because again, you've already got somebody that can send everyone to you. You're talking to the person.
The dispatcher.
So,
But like he said, it could have been just a township number. All right, so initial interview. I don't want to spend all day on our opinions on this side, but initial interview is with Rick, who's the maintenance guy at the garage.
Correct. And so I mean, again, you're more than welcome. I mean, there's quite a bit.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say there's quite a bit. There's not enough, but there's there's 40 pages. I don't think we want to go. I mean, unless you want to go through. We're more than welcome if you want.
I mean, we could talk about. Let's talk about the initial scene.
So okay.
Let's just talk about that aspect.
Note that time frame, though. By the way, that he says that he arrived just before 07, but that call didn't come in till 07:26.
Right, and that's what I was going to ask. So in that initial scene, what's this? I mean, other than the fact this is a quick. If this is all there is to it, I mean, there's a video recording that I watched of your actual interview, his interview with him, but the interview was later in the day, was it not?
Interview with whom? I'm sorry.
That Rick did with the sheriff's office with Deputy Sanford.
Yeah, they pulled in, I think, 5 or 6 people later that day.
Right.
And I think his interview was that day.
Right.
Now he gets interviewed by BCI later. But yeah, that day I think they rounded up maybe 5 or 6 people and interviewed him that day.
So with this initial aspect and showing up at the scene, what sticks out to you about that aspect that leaves room for conspiracies, that leaves room for poor investigation? Like what sticks out to you that first?
Well, before that, sorry to keep going back to this. He was there before 07. The call to this deputy was at 07:26, but according to this, before he called him, he called Trustee Costello first.
Yes.
So I don't know if there were I'm sure phone records would confirm that, but then I'm assuming then Costello maybe arrived by that time.
So Costello, I believe, arrives around 7:26, I believe. And he's very interesting also. Depending on which interview, his things change. Like when he receives the call, I believe in the original, and I might be swapping it, but at one point he doesn't have any pants on and he's drinking hot cocoa, And then the other one, he's already dressed and walking out the door when he receives the call. Little details, not huge, but just sort of odd. I mean, just there's a lot of discrepancies in his interviews if you compare them side by side.
Yeah.
I guess when I listened to some of the discrepancies, my thought was like, okay, for instance, you're asking me questions like I might be even overwhelmed at the moment. There's blood on it. We don't know what's going on. And I don't remember if it was 7:26 or 7:14. Something tells me it was 7:14, and then later I mean, I think there's even an instance where Victoria says I was 2:02 when I got a text, but he was already gone by then. So it's like minutes. We're talking about minutes, and I understand it's important to investigation, but it's easy to cross over. But when you talk about him being on the couch, my first thought was, once again, I'm looking at it like trying to look at it basic, and then if there's more, I'll dive into it. But my first thought was, I mean, I've easily been like, I was sleeping on the couch, or I was actually scrolling my phone and watching or drinking coffee on the couch, or I was in my underwear. Actually, I think I was on I mean, those aren't aspects that make the scene seem any more questionable, in my opinion.
And the fact that, I mean, we had like a pre-interview, and that's, I guess there's a lot of conspiracy theories relative to Mike Costello and Linda Bowers. And let me just put the disclaimer out. I have zero evidence whatsoever to support that they have anything to do with Bryon Macron's disappearance. I just want to put that disclaimer out. But there are some oddities about contradictions in their statements. So as an investigator, I would have been looking at them harder
than you think
than I think that they were looked at. And again, it could be just totally, it could be something completely in left field. But there are inconsistencies, and I think that's the reason that there's so many conspiracies relative to them.
Right. Like they didn't ask the extra questions. They didn't kind of press a little bit to get.
Yes.
Makes sense. So with that initial scene, what sticks out to everybody what sticks out to you in that initial scene that maybe could have been done better by local law enforcement when they investigated?
Well, I mean, number one, I'll ask you, right? Or am I allowed to ask you? I don't know.
Ask me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get called to a crime scene, whatever it is, a burglary, all right? Would you typically photograph all around the house?
Would I?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, every square inch, if I could.
So there's no photographs of the rear of this building whatsoever. Now, I believe George was talking that, well, they went around the building, but there's nothing in the report to indicate that, and there's nothing photographed of the rear of the buildings. Now, there's a door in the back.
When you say the rear of the building, do you mean the 162 facing side or the baseball field facing side?
Well, it's not even a baseball field.
The baseball field is to the east.
It's actually like a.
It's right. It was on the other side of the fire station, right? It was the township building.
It's behind it.
It's behind
the township. Yeah, it's the old fire station. It's the smaller building that's behind it back there.
Yeah.
So there's
the front door faces.
So the back is the field.
No, the field is to the east.
Not the baseball
there's
field. Just a field. Like
right.
Yeah. Okay. They moved it since then. That was 10 years ago. I don't think the building's still there. Or if it's
in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is, and it's still there today. There's an access road. And it's off of
Lafayette Road.
Lafayette Road.
Yeah.
Right.
So you wouldn't even have to necessarily come across, and we're going to get into the camera on Lafayette Market, but you wouldn't even have to go through that field of view. There is a way to pull up basically right to the back of that building. And the fact that it's not even photographed, you're not even able to establish, well, is there blueprints? Is there anything back here? And it's not photographed. It's not documented in the report. I think that's a huge misstep.
Yeah, because even if they did walk back there, the fact that there's no visual evidence that they did anything back there or looked at anything or took photos or dusted the back door or anything.
And
of
you
that
may
nature.
also find something later that you didn't see day of as well when you're looking at that later on.
Sure.
As well. Like that's another reason why.
Now, BCI gets involved that same day, right?
One other critical thing I want to bring up. They allowed everybody and their brother and sister into the crime scene. They didn't really even secure it. That Linda Bowers, everybody's showing up. Everybody's walking through the crime scene. There's no
Like actually in the room where it took place, or
I
just
don't-
inside the building in general?
I don't know definitively that they're
Either
in the
way,
room.
they're spreading DNA and evidence all over the place.
Is there a crime scene log? I mean, there has to be, but when was it start? No.
Thank you, sir. No, there isn't.
Okay.
There's
Never
no
one
crime
crime
scene
scene
log.
log at all.
But I want to talk. I mean, and again, I have the qualifications of James Cartwright, and you're going to be totally amazed when or if you want to get into that.
So, I don't want to touch on this one spot. BCI showed up that same day, correct?
They did.
How did they take pictures? Did they have a separate report than here?
They do have a separate report. They do have separate photographs. Still no photographs of the back of the building.
You have to be kidding me.
No.
See, and you know it's funny. We talk about this all the time, but how does a conspiracy start? It could just be nobody thought it was relevant for whatever reason. But the fact that two different departments did an investigation and didn't photograph the back of the building, like to me, it's like, how is that possible?
And I will be floored. I was actually floored because BCI, I utilize BCI for evidence all the time. And BCI is top notch. They're evidence technicians, at least I should preface, are top notch people. They're forensic scientists are top notch people. I couldn't believe when I saw
In the
there's
BCI
no
report.
photographs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same day,
Yep.
just nobody. And obviously, there's no video evidence of anything behind there, so there's no way to like look and see why could there not be video or photos of it? That's insane to me. Because there's other three sides, photos of all three sides.
There's sides, yes. There's photographs of there used to be a it's not that's the portion that's not there at this point. There used to be a garage bay when the Lafayette Police Department was there. So at this time in 2016, that bay was still there. So they photographed that. They photographed the front of the building. They photographed the other side where there's a side door. But for whatever reason, they didn't photograph the back. They didn't photograph the access road that's in the back.
And that's right next to the salt shed too, right? Did they photograph around the salt shed at all as well?
They did photograph the salt shed.
Really?
Yeah. They
Interesting.
even went in, and they did go into the dumpster, but I'm sorry. There are photographs of the dumpster, but it's just, I think when they're actually like finding stuff in the dumpster, they're photographing it. And again, generally, when you're looking at a crime scene, you want long, medium, short shots. You want shots before you start monkeying with anything. And the only photos you're getting are like close-up photos of, oh, here's a bottle, here's a towel with blood on it.
Right.
So you have no idea where was it located prior to you monkeying with it.
So a couple of things that stuck out to me with absolutely zero law enforcement experience, but I do watch a lot of TV.
CSI.
I was shocked that one, the property wasn't locked down, and interviews weren't conducted at a police station or something, just anywhere else, rather than even in the fire station. That could have been evidence of a murder, right? Because ultimately any of those buildings could have been used for cover, parking a vehicle, etc. Especially at 8 a.m. at the beginning of this crime scene, you have no idea.
Correct.
All you know is there's blood there. I would want all that locked down, that whole piece of property, in my opinion. I don't know if that's like standard or if that's not what would normally happen, but that's what I would think. I definitely wouldn't have let people walking around there, because even at that point, tires.
Contamination.
It's a gravel driveway, gravel parking lot. It might not have been at that point. I don't know. It's not now, but back then I think it was still gravel, essentially all around there.
Correct.
But you could have got tire tracks, you could have got boot prints or shoe prints or anything, right? Or even blood. Because let's be honest, if there was blood that was all along the side, you drove over it, those rocks all get turned over, spread around, and anything can change it, right? Okay, so that's the first thing I would say is like really weird. Two, photos, all that aspect. The other thing is, and I think I heard you mention this, every time you watch TV, there's like the little people that go around and put the little yellow things next to all the pieces of evidence.
Markers, yes.
And there can be 30, there could be 300, depending on the scene, right? Because you might find a little speck of blood on the room next. And even though it might not be related to this, you still photograph it and sticker it or whatever. So that was the other thing. And then the third thing was, did they run like fingerprints on every door frame? Is that something that would happen in a scene like this? Because I would think any piece of you want to know every single person who's been in that building.
Yes. So you're going to make me regret not putting a lot more stuff on here. So the crime scene itself, what I found was interesting. Again, you have the two sets of photographs, and the way that you can differentiate is one set of photographs doesn't have the markers and one does. Now, the ones that do, I'm assuming are BCI's photographs. I mean, I shouldn't say I assume. I have them from public record. Those are the BCI photographs, the ones with the yellow markers. There's ones without. But things are moved by the time. So, like, there's a jacket and a tipped over chair.
Yeah, the yellow jacket, right?
Yes.
With the
By the time that it's photographed by BCI, the chair is in a totally different position. The jacket's in a totally different position. So it's really odd because, again, you have the initial photos. I'm hoping was the original scene, or but why would you even pick up the chair? Why would you? I mean, the chair's not doing anything. Leave the chair where the chair is at. Right. And I don't understand. There's several items, water bottles, things like that have been moved from one set of photos to the other. Again, fueling that conspiracy.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
From the, I mean, again, I keep going back to the timeline here. So he arrives at 7:00. 7:26 is when the call to the deputy goes in, but that's also the same time that Costello shows up there. So if let's say I owned a small convenience store and I walked in and I walked upon, that scene. Yeah, you come in, oh, golly shucks, what's going on here? Something's not the way I left it. And you have that momentary, pause. But, as a human being, it's pretty easy to identify blood. So now you see, okay, now something isn't right. Like, okay, a chair, a jacket, blood on the wall. So, okay, what exactly is going on here? Was there a party here last night? What is there alcohol bottles? What's going on? But clearly something has happened here, right? So it's not an immediate call to 911. It's a call to a trustee who then shows up at the scene. Then it's a call
with a gun.
Right, with a gun, mind you. Okay, which, okay.
Well, and that's fine. But
yeah, but at the same time, so you have that person. Why would neither one of them say, hey, something's going on down here at the township, whether you're going to call the deputy directly, you're going to call dispatch, or you're going to tell them. So obviously, so that those timestamps. And then at that point, of course, what's the first thing deputy would do when they got there? This is a crime scene. Everybody get the fuck out. And the tape goes up and nothing happens until your investigators arrive. But now I guess what we're about to find out is actually, no, there was actually a party of more people coming in. And now your entire scene is fucked because it's fully contaminated at that point. It's already contaminated by way of maintenance guy showing up. Like he's contaminated the scene, and now you need to mitigate through that. But then you add another person and another person and another person.
The other so while we're here at the scene, there's another oddity, and again going back, yeah, okay, fine, for safety he shows up with a gun, but again, Rick's already telling him, hey, there's a bunch of blood back there, and he chooses to clear. For whatever reason, again, might not be anything nefarious. I have no idea, but Costello chooses to clear the building with his gun, further contaminating.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Yes. So
he walked through the building with his gun?
Correct. Now, the interesting thing
is Costello a cop, military? No. So he's just a guy at the scene.
He was, I believe, an EMT for the township at that point.
So just a guy at the CCW shows up on post and he clears the building.
And he's also, at the time, was the other trustee.
And the last person to see.
And he was, he went to the movies with Bryon the night before. Everybody thought that was very odd because both sides say that they didn't really hang out with each other. I think Costello even makes a weird comment in one of his interviews that, I didn't even want to sit next to him because it was just weird. And
George brought that up too. So
you have Costello that is in an interview and they keep asking him for his boots. Now, their side, I actually just, my last video was a secretive recording of Linda Bowers being recorded when she didn't know that she was being recorded by somebody. That was my last video. And she says that he gave the deputies his boots, but there's no record. They keep asking him for the boots during the interview, and he keeps shifting the conversation to a Post-it note back at his house. So they keep, hey, I need those boots that you have. Oh, yeah, do you want me to go back and get that note? And then they get into this conversation, and well, yeah, do you want me to go back and get that note? Literally 3 times they're asking for his boots, and that the interview ends
And you don't know.
without him giving his boots, and there's no documentation that he ever gave his boots. There's nothing with BCI comparing his boots to anything, but there are 2 distinct boot prints that are in the township hall from blood. So again, what did he give his boots? Were they tested? I don't know. There's nothing. I would assume.
Did he walk through the scene?
Yeah.
I mean-
Well, if
I
he,
mean, he did.
if he cleared the
cleared.
building, at gunpoint, then he absolutely walked through. But it's noteworthy though if he left a boot print, because if you're clearing a building and you think a crime has been committed, you're not going to intentionally step in the blood. But if you're involved in a scuffle, you would have perhaps incidentally stepped
Right,
in the
right.
blood. Like,
So was the boots that were eventually found on Bryan's feet, were they eventually compared to the boot marks?
I believe there were a total of 3 definitive boot prints. 2 of those boot prints were Bryan's. 1 is still unknown to this day.
Gotcha. And didn't match, and obviously we don't know if they matched Costello's or if they matched the maintenance guys or if they matched anybody's because we didn't check boots.
We have
on
no
all of
idea.
them. Right.
Because we did a great,
Could have been
thorough
one of the cops.
investigation.
Could have been one of the cops.
Could have been.
So it's, my initial thought was like, well, I mean, how difficult was an investigation? But I can understand now when somebody sees this, because as a civilian, I would be like, man, this is kind of did you guys not watch NCIS? Like, like seriously, what's going on here?
I mean, you joke about that, but all those TV shows all have current and retired cops that advise their plot line.
Let's
So
be
it's
honest,
pretty,
even if they're not 100%
Yeah.
accurate, they're 60%. They still do the same thing in every single one of them when
Yeah.
there's a crime scene, right?
the girls aren't that hot. I'll tell you right now.
The movies do the same as well. All right, so anything else that initial day that kind of sticks out in this scenario? Because at this point, we don't have a body, too, right? So
Correct. At this point, we have no idea where Bryan's at. And again, as a homicide investigator, okay, all suspicious scenes like this. I had a homicide where we showed up without body. We had a bunch of blood all over the place, and we later found out the guy was thrown in the back of a trunk of a vehicle and killed and dumped somewhere else. Okay, you have to assume when you're investigating this type of situation that it's a homicide. You investigate it as a homicide until it is proven otherwise. That's pretty much standard 101.
gives you the best way of collecting evidence.
Correct.
Right? Because you're doing it with a suspicious mind instead of just a...
Exactly. And it's a pain. It is a pain. It's a
Right.
pain in the butt. Man, I got to slow down. I got to process everything. And man, this guy probably just walked off, and it's a pain, but you have to do it.
Right.
It's investigation 101. But
So when it comes to a sheriff office versus like Cleveland police, different when it comes to investigations. I mean, obviously they're capable of doing their investigations, but typically investigating a murder scene and things like that does that necessarily fall under the jurisdiction of like a rural sheriff, or does that change at all, or no?
I mean, so for whatever reason, they did not initially hand this off. Had I been, in charge of someone at this point of Medina County, and I knew clearly that my deputies were not capable of doing this, I would have asked for someone else to step in and assist. Now they did call BCI, but initially BCI just showed up to process the scene. They weren't actually doing any part of the investigation. So I guess it sort of segues into, I don't know if you want to bring it up. I brought up James Cartwright's training. Now, I interviewed a guy named Fred Woke. He is a former Medina County deputy. A former Medina County prosecutor's investigator, and then he later actually worked for OPATA. He was one of the directors of OPATA, which is in charge of police training.
Right.
So I think the guy is very credible. He refers to James Cartwright. Apparently, everybody at the police department called this guy Hoss.
And what was his position at the time?
So at this point, I believe he's a detective deputy.
Okay.
So if you look at his training, which is toward the bottom portion there,
Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
these are advanced classes he took. Now, LMS, you can say that that's training. That's online training.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only training this guy has, and he's been there for I think almost 20 years. That segment is all the training this guy has. Now, look for things relative to detective work. He has one crime scene class that he took back in 1991. He has no training on detective work whatsoever. And this is the guy that's assigned probably one of the highest profile cases in Medina County. They put this guy that has no training whatsoever.
So have you ever interviewed with him?
I have not. He refuses. He will not talk to me. But I have pretty much blasted him on his investigation. So, I mean, I can't necessarily fault him.
Right. Sorry, I'm just going to timestamp this so I can remember to go back to this. But
And is he still employed there?
He is not. He eventually
it looked like he went to reserve status like 5 years ago or something like that, and then he probably just retired, I'm assuming.
He was an investigator with the prosecutor's office, and I'm told that he is no longer there. People have seen him handing out parking citations on the square as of recent.
So these are additional. So I see what you're saying, right? If I'm looking at this, I can be like, this is really the only training he has where it's on site. But somebody arguing that point could be like, no. He has a ton of LMS training.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's a complete waste of time. Anybody with common sense can go to any one of those classes. I could do it right now if I still had OPONIC course, and I wouldn't even have to pay attention to anything and take the test. And if you have any common sense whatsoever, you're going to pass.
Yeah, in the worst case, I mean, most of those LMS are set up so that they're set up so you don't fail, right? And,
correct. If you fail it, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to take it again.
And then you might, after 2 or 3 fails, they might make you wait a week or something of that nature. But you could still pass at any time. It's not going to say how many times you failed. So I could look at it from both ways, though, right? So I can still say, no. He has way more training than that because he does.
Okay. So
now,
let's
how much of it is associated with any kind? Because that's what I'm looking at now, right? Because there's probably the other aspect of LMS training might be great for how to conduct an interview and ask questions. It's not going to be the proper way to train on, I would suspect that it's not the proper way to train on how to investigate a crime scene. That you need hands-on.
Correct.
You need somebody there that can go smack your hand when you touch something that you shouldn't touch. You know what I mean? Like, so I could see why it seems underqualified to handle it.
I'll come to his defense in just a little bit in that we don't generally have homicides down here. So
of course,
to your point, yeah, you get good at it by doing it.
But I'm going to disagree. I mean, you just had Christion Olson, which is a fiasco also.
Yeah.
I'm
not
you're
saying
getting
never.
more.
I'm not saying never, but I'm saying not at a level like in other
you're not going to have
counties.
it as like the East Cleveland level.
Right.
No, and unfortunately, it's probably going to be something that more local places are going to start to take more seriously.
That was where I guess I was going with it. I hope that Sheriff Grice is looking. I mean, because it's going to be more prominent. You guys are getting a lot of flux from Cleveland,
right?
Yeah,
moving into Medina.
There's options. I mean, I'm not one to tell anybody how to run their agency, but you can bring in a special deputy from somewhere and you can deputize them, somebody that's pull somebody from retirement. Like there's options for that.
And for the record, I'm sorry, Fred Woke offered that. He said he would come back as a reserve and do this investigation for free.
Wow.
So I'm sorry.
No, well, I was just going to say, I mean, we just talked about how it doesn't happen very often in a small town, but obviously just a couple of nights ago, we saw it happen in Bath, which is also a township. Crazy. I literally was in Bath like 2 hours before all that, not even a couple miles away from there. And it's like to think about what happened, but you just don't know what's going to happen, and you should be prepared for every scenario. And I'm sure, I know Terry Grice, I know he takes his position very seriously, and I'm sure that he's done something in order to increase that level because it has to be done, right? We have to be prepared. It's once again, be prepared. It's better to be prepared for everything than not be trained on anything.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is the person who ends up, handling the initial investigation. So we find out that training is probably a little underwhelming as far as the position. That's probably why there's so many errors made at the initial crime scene. But then I double back down and say, here's BCI, who's supposed to be the professionals, and I understand that they're just coming out for a crime scene investigation, but they're coming out for a crime scene investigation and they still botched it.
I agree. And then the one guy that actually does the blood spatter analysis, which we can get into whenever you want. I actually know him personally, Winterick, top-notch guy. And so it looks like there might have been somebody else that I'm not familiar with that was doing the photographs And again, I don't know exactly what was going through their head. BCI generally it does a great job.
So the regular person to me that says that this isn't a conspiracy or there's not, let's say I'm just looking at it like, no, they did a fine job. Is there a chance that they're both avoided the back because of some other reason? I mean, it's more likely that they both avoided the back for a specific reason, whether it was the door was locked and there was no way into that way or whatever, than it is they both avoided it because they're in on the conspiracy theory. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I don't think that there's any direct. I don't think that like either department was involved with some sort of conspiracy. I don't. I think it was just negligence. I don't think that they were. No,
shocking that both were negligent though.
Correct
is what I'm getting at. Like to me, it's like, okay, were they really negligent or was there reasons not to photograph that area? Now, personally, I'd rather have too much information than not enough. It eliminates these questions we're talking about right now.
Right.
But that would be the skeptical side of me that no, this is all normal. That's where I would go with it, is my opinion. So, but then there's the side of me, like if it was my family member that was found dead, I'd want there to be undisputable evidence and everything being done correctly by the book. All right. So what other things, you got anything else about that opening day? I mean,
no, well, so I guess just following along there. So at 9:00, they had found, this kind of rewinds back here. I guess I see that because it said at 9:00 is when OnStar alerted on his vehicle over at the lake. Did I see that on that other screen? Is that what that said there?
Before this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay.
Wait, hold on a second. I saw 0900.
Yeah, I told her to come in at 09 because he was going to be. Oh no, that was part of the call of the angry citizen that was upset. That's what that is. Okay, and then I obtained vehicles information on Star. That doesn't say what time that was, but okay, all right. You can go on.
All right, so let's touch on this because the whole reason they're supposedly there is because of this pissed off guy that's says that I'm afraid if I show up, I'm gonna kill you. Apparently. Is what he was told. What was this?
I'm trying to figure out where we are here.
Sorry.
Who is he interviewing?
This is.
Oh, Rick is.
This is just a recap.
Okay.
This is just a recap. It looks like, right? And then this is where they're talking about 2 weeks ago. I'm assuming Bryon had called me to advise that an unknown male had been calling him, making threats. He was upset about the township levy. So first of all, supposedly there's multiple calls about these threats. Did the phone records prove to these, like, that he was receiving these calls? Did anybody verify these numbers? Did we ever locate this so-called pissed off resident, or do you think there maybe was an upset resident?
There was no records of it. Verifiable record of it. And so, there's no evidence of it. So it's hard for me to determine whether or not there was an angry resident. But there's no verifiable evidence to show that there was.
Gotcha. And then the other aspect of it was, because we're talking about his phone records and where's it going to go? Is there truth to the fact that debt collectors were calling him more often so than anything?
I want to qualify with what you said.
Wait, hold on a second. But he was receiving a bunch of calls from debt collectors, correct?
He had, I believe there was calls from his car company, maybe a credit card, but it was the same companies that were calling like multiple times. So it wasn't, I don't want to give the impression
that it was all his house and everything else.
Yeah.
Right. But he was receiving calls from
yes.
debt collectors. And once again, my hat just goes on. Well, if I got caught on one of those calls by a coworker, my first might be to lie and just say, oh, it's a guy who's threatening me about the town or whatever the case might be. So that's completely just made up in my mind, right? There's no evidence of that. But there is no evidence that there's actually an upset township employee that's going to meet him there at 9 a.m.
No, there is a later interview, I believe, by Will Fong, which we haven't even talked about, but there's a Lafayette firefighter, Will Fong, that tells investigators at some point that he was aware that Bryon was going to be meeting the angry resident at Chippewa Lake. So that sort of sparks, well, is that why his vehicle's down there? But that too cannot really be confirmed. And as we have, again, I don't know how much you want to get into this. Wolfong is not the most trustworthy of people. So was he telling the truth? I don't know. Wolfong is also the one that tells several. I thought it was just one, but I've actually interviewed 2 firefighters now at this point where Wolfong has told them that something was tied to Bryon when he was recovered. Wolfong was the one that recovered Bryon when they found him.
So I just saw that report recently. He actually told somebody else, had him go in and do a third-party report, basically.
Yes.
Right? Like, tell him I saw this, but he didn't do it himself. He didn't go to the police himself and tell him he saw that.
Correct.
So yeah, it makes it kind of...
So it's real foggy, but he does tell them, around this time frame.
The kayaker is Wolfong?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wolfong's from the fire department that goes in and actually
got him out.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I apologize. I misunderstood that for a minute. He's the one that actually pulled him out. That's why
he also changes his name. So it might not have been Wolfong
at the time.
I can't remember. But yeah, he changes his name. That's another weird aspect. There are so many weird things to this case. It's not even funny.
He legally changed his name?
Yes, he
went
legally
to the courts
changed his name.
Do you think it's related to the case, or he just wanted a different name?
It was around that time.
It's completely, I mean, you're just guessing, but I mean, sure.
Yes.
Maybe I don't want my name to be associated with all these reports, so I do it. Maybe I'm trying to get a different job, whatever the case. I do find it interesting, and I think this is where the other side comes in and says, no, he's definitely did this to himself or planned this, because why is he telling people he's
different stories?
Both stories say he's going to meet an angry town resident. One says Chippewa Lake, one says the township. So I think that, it's funny because you say that let the dead speak, but unfortunately, in this case, Bryon told lies that really complicate his story even more, which I think is where the story is that's where the idea I came into the conclusion that I think he did do this, because it's why is he telling all these misdirecting stories, but they're all revolving around the same locations that either his body or the incident took place, etc. And then once again, you filter that in, or you plug that in with the fact that the evidence doesn't show you enough. And then that's where you come in with these pick a side and go with it.
I guess I'm not even saying he was dishonest. I don't know definitively, but through investigations, people have all sorts of different lifestyles. And I'm not, we haven't even touched that yet. I'm not even talking about that, but I mean, they just have different ways of doing things. So to me, it's immaterial.
Right.
I'm still going to investigate it regardless of what happens.
100%. You're going to investigate it either way. But ultimately, if Bryon was his own witness, he'd be less credible based off of the parent. But then again, we don't know the people that are getting the information, where their reliability comes from as well. So the entire scenario just makes this more and more confusing. And then you couple that with some questionable police work, and I see where you're coming from.
Do you have any opinions on where he was mentally?
There is nothing to indicate, and I offer people all the time, if you know something, let me know. There's nothing to indicate of anyone that I've spoken with that he was having any type of mental issues whatsoever. And everybody wants to talk about the financial issues, and we're sort of jumping all over the place. I don't want to ruin your.
You're not ruining anything.
Whatever your.
That's
your
the best part about long form. You just talk.
The only thing that he has is a $56,000 credit card. He was doing all sorts of weird things with the one credit card. He was buying mass amount of stuff, and that starts very at the beginning, because I don't think the investigators understood what he was doing. So they were they started this rumor. And that's the other interesting thing is these investigators are obviously talking to civilian people because they're giving them opinions even before they even know what's going on.
Small town.
So initially, he's in way over his head. He's millions of dollars in debt. And then they figure out, oh, wait a minute, he returned everything. Oh, he's not actually $2 million in debt. Is
that what it was? He had over almost $2 million in purchases that he was then.
I want to say 1.8, but I could be wrong.
And these were purchases he was making, and then he was returning them.
Yes. So supposedly, in one of the reports, you'll see Cartwright does reach out to American Express, and they're investigating the whole point
I was
idea.
going to say that could be the only reason is to manipulate the points.
And they're, according to Cartwright, American Express tells them that's not possible, which I think is full of shit. I have American Express. I go and charge something today. I will get the points
are there.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but his report indicates that he did reach out to American Express, and they told him no, that does not happen, but it does. And honestly, I think that's probably what he was doing. He was probably trying to get a max amount of points.
See, for me with Capital One, if I purchase something and I return it in 30 days, the points fall off.
Yeah, I think it's
So that's where.
But you can, but yeah, I mean, even with American Express, you can do the same thing. You can make a purchase, have the points, then go spend the points, then return the items. But your points will go negative.
Game the system.
So yeah.
Now 1.8 was the 1.8 all purchased with that American Express and all returned to the American Express.
I mean, I think you're talking over a time frame. It's not like he was doing it like in
over the course of
30
just
days.
a year. Or
We're
something.
talking multiple years.
Gotcha. I was just curious because to me, I mean, there's so many scams out there right now where like, you go buy something with your credit card and then you return it somewhere else and say you don't have the receipt to get the store credit card, and then or the store credit, then you take the store credit and you sell it on Facebook Marketplace for 80% of value. So when I had heard that, that's what I had thought. I was like, okay, well maybe the guy was hard up for funds and then he was doing some kind of switcheroo thing and scam in order to try and get some extra bucks to keep himself afloat. I don't know what his actual scenario was, and
I think he was, from everything that I've gathered, he was going through basically a transition between two different diamond companies, and he had just landed this new diamond company, and even by Linda Bowers, who mysteriously, and that's one of the other conspiracy theories, she offers him, but I mean, she says that she does. She offers him $20,000 to get by through Christmas, and she says he turned it down and said, "No, Christmas is coming. This is my busy season. I'm going to be fine. I'm just falling a little bit behind." Going through the different job transition, I'll be fine. And if you look at his finances, I don't see anything other than that $56,000 credit card. And I mean, maybe I'm just of a completely different mindset. I'm not going to kill myself over $56,000, but I think probably everybody in this room, unless you're extremely fortunate, has some sort of debt, your house, whatever.
Right.
And 56,000 just isn't going to do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, the worst case scenario is I just file bankruptcy, keep my house, and move on with the credit card. I mean, there's multiple ways out of that other than suicide. So, and I agree. So, but the other thing is the only thing that you or any third party that's investigating this case is going to get is public record.
Correct.
So it has to be a part of the case. So this goes back to, okay, well, we already think that the officers investigating the case didn't necessarily do the best job up front. Do we think that they actually did the due diligence to find out all the details of financial crimes? Was anybody involved with financial crimes? Because at that point, that becomes a federal investigation, correct?
Well, no, they actually had Arvin Carr with BCI, who's a financial crimes analyst. He actually subpoenaed most of his finances, at least that I know of. I mean, there's literally thousands.
Do those include,
that 76
include his wives and stuff like that, or no?
Yes.
Oh, it does. So both financial. Okay.
And out of that 76 gig, probably the majority of it, honestly, is finances. It's all credit card statements. There's thousands of pages of credit card statements that are included in this Dropbox or the Discord server. So, I mean, I think Arvin probably did a pretty decent job. Arvin's history was he was a Cleveland finance investigator for the city of Cleveland back then, and then he went on to BCI. He actually did several of the programs for BCI for financial crimes. So I think he's got a pretty good grasp on it. I would assume. I can't definitively say.
Yeah, of course. We're all there's certain things that you have to speculate on because you're not doing the investigation real time.
Correct.
And that's what makes a lot of this, hard as well, is because, like I said, you're doing it all based off of other people's work. So when people question you and say, "Oh, he's just doing this for clicks and da 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 da," well, of course you're diving into the things that are interesting that people want to hear about because that's what's driving, the questions. But ultimately, you're doing it off of somebody else's work. You're looking at somebody else's photos. You're looking at evidence that could be 2 months old, 3 months old, as we'll get into when the body was eventually located and stuff or found and stuff like that. So
before we wander too far off, if you can open, there's a PowerPoint document.
PDF. Oh,
and this was authored by BCI. There's one other peculiar thing that happens this night.
Hold on, let's see if it'll let me do what I want to do. Yes.
So if you,
Pro.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just time stamping it.
So if you go towards, I mean, you're more than welcome to
So this
peruse
is
whatever
BCI.
you want.
This is BCI's timeline. Bless you.
Thank you.
Correct.
Based off of their own private investigation, or not private investigation, separate investigation from the sheriff's department, or do they include sheriff's information as well?
They're using the sheriff's department's information. So Snyder actually backhandedly slaps the sheriff's department in one of his final reports and says, basically, you guys did such a piss poor job. How do you expect me to figure out what's going on? And he basically puts this in the report. You guys, there's no further findings we can find out because the initial investigation was so botched from the start.
Makes sense.
But so if you scroll, I mean, you're more than welcome to peruse as much as you want. This starts, I think that.
Okay, so this is actually this is information that I don't have. Is the evening before? So his last outgoing message is a video chat to Costello, and Costello didn't. That's interesting. The day before.
This is actually, that's November 29th. So they've actually gone back a couple of days.
Gotcha. And is this is just his last outgoing messenger? And
So, I mean, they're just basically showing what's on Messenger, I think 224, November 29th, and then December 8th.
She sends him a little video based off of a crash, and then he's got some incoming calls from Chase Bank. So this is what we know as far as the financial aspect of
Yes.
it, is that Chase was calling him. All right, and then Chase.
And that's what I was saying. It was like the same, they were doing it multiple times, but
Right.
it was like the same companies.
Right. I got you. Yeah, because I mean these are all Chase Auto Finance. All right, and then we have. Is this where you want me to stop?
So this is the night before. I mean, you're more than welcome to go through it.
No,
if you
no,
want.
this is
I
great.
I
haven't
guess
seen any of this. So this is the night before at 12:09 a.m. He shares a Facebook post. Is that what this is? Is that what I'm understanding?
so. We're at December 15th. I think it's actually 12:09, December 15th.
So the day before.
So yeah, you're in the very early morning of the day before.
Okay. Yeah, midnight. All right. And then 8:30 to 12:58 p.m. So this is the early morning.
Correct.
And we've got him essentially
All over
around-
Medina.
All over Medina, like downtown Medina, for the most part. All right. And then we've got 227. Now he's
Day
at
before.
this is the day, the night before.
Day
So-
before.
so it's the-
2:27 p.m.
Afternoon before.
Right.
Yeah.
So between 1 and 3, he's all in the township area now, for the most part. Back out, he's on the highway and stuff like that. And he's moving around a lot.
Well, so I mean, just to clarify to everybody, the viewer, the big circle. So if you see up here, accuracy 2,500 meters.
Gotcha.
So when you're looking at cell phone pings, the cell phone works off of like triangulation. So
Sure.
he could have been anywhere in those
I got you.
areas.
Okay.
Like the big circle and
yeah. So even like on the bottom one where you got the two littler ones, and you got the big one, he could have almost been in the same place that whole time.
possibly.
Right, because they're all close enough to.
Correct.
I got you. Okay, so he's not moving around a lot. Those are just the cell phone pings and how much they vary. Although there is one way out by Westfield Center down here.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did he live out towards Westfield Center?
No, he lived in Lafayette Township. So.
Okay.
I don't want to. His wife still lives there, so I don't want to like.
No.
I'm sure pretty much
I don't
everybody
need
knows,
his
but-
address. I just wasn't sure if Westfield Center. So, do we know where he was at that day? Like what he was doing throughout that day?
Yeah, there's nothing. I think he was actually. I mean, well, depending on who you ask, I mean, he was either playing hooky at the fire department, or he was making ring call or like jewelry calls.
Gotcha. I was just curious. I mean, like for the most part, he's around the township, but then suddenly he goes out to Westfield Center. So I would venture to say, did he see somebody that day? Do we know who he saw at Westfield Center? Is there any record or
That I do not know.
Okay. And like I said, somebody might not have ever asked that question. And as far as from that side of things, right?
He could have
So-
also just been driving on the highway there too.
Yeah, very true. All right. So then we've got a couple of outgoing calls to home.
So apparently his, for whatever reason, the jewelry industry, at least back at this point, because there are multiple jobs that he's had, apparently they're all using WhatsApp for whatever reason.
For international, if he's doing
Yeah.
anything international, I could see that. I know diamonds. There's a lot in Belgium. because I'm just most people that I meet. I've been to Europe a lot, and a lot of people there use WhatsApp just specifically for just free
Everything.
communication back and forth. Like,
So
that doesn't surprise me entirely. Now, if it was Hunter Biden we were talking about, that's a different story.
That's your next case. So real quick, why are these specific messages and texts brought up as part of the timeline, or is it just to kind of?
It's just basically to build a timeline. So essentially, whenever you have an invest, I mean, this is a good thing. You basically just look at everything you possibly can. You know, like if you went missing later tonight, I'm going to look at and see. Okay, well, where's the social media post? What times were they?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it gives us a confidence that okay, well, at 4:53, we know he's okay. We know where he is. We know what he's doing. But it also gives me a timeline. Okay, who's Ashok Taylor? We find out that Ashok Taylor is one of his jewelry business persons, but
Like one of the owners of the company type thing, or somebody?
I think they were just
or?
employees.
Gotcha.
But it gives you an idea.
Right, of what the contact is.
Yeah.
Okay, and then why is the outgoing text? Is it just?
Again, just to
So I'm assuming
timeline.
now this doesn't show us like missed calls or anything like that. So we don't know if his wife had been calling him right here for the last hour or anything like that. We just know that he said I'll call when I can't. So
correct.
assumptions, right? Now, well, we'll keep going because you've got something that you want to hit on here. So let me find my little mouse thing. All right. Anything on here? So now we're talking about after the afternoon.
So yeah, so I mean, we're getting into the later evening, and you know he's still wife at some point. This is actually right before this is after the party.
When was When did the party take place?
The party took place, I think, between like 9-ish and 11-ish, because he wanted to go see the movie. The Star Wars was just coming out
At 12 o'clock.
and that was a big conspiracy. Also, all the people in Star Wars wanted, you know, why are all these people that he was just talking to going to Star Wars? Maybe there is something to it. I don't think there is. I mean, it's Medina. I think at that point there was only one theater, maybe two. I don't know. And I was that geek that went to go see Star Wars the night that it came out.
What are they saying? Because there were so many people at Star Wars.
There were the fact that a lot of these people, the same people, you know, Costello. You got Costello, and I can't remember. There were some Hulk was an officer that. There's a lot of people that Bryon did jewelry sales to, as far as police officers. That's also another thing. A lot of people have disparaged Bryon, saying that he was in so much financial distress that he was selling fake jewelry. But that was actually dispelled by interviews by a couple of the officers that actually had their rings appraised. So that was another big rumor that I had to combat, because everybody kept saying, "Oh, he's selling fake jewelry." But all these people that he was selling jewelry to, officers, things of that nature, they all are seen at this movie.
Oh wow!
At the same time.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a Marvel guy, so I mean, I
Nerd.
drive to Strongsville to see the 12 o'clock Marvel, and that every theater in that place was packed. You'd run into like
fucking nerd.
5 of your friends that
Yes.
were watching it. That's right, I am a nerd. It's all right.
I was
All right.
at that same Star Wars movie show. No, I wasn't, but
So
I went the next day.
So, all right,
This
so
is
the party. Well, I just want to bring up. Do we know specific times on the party? Because I mentioned once again, he's getting calls at 8:24 from Chase. Do we know if he took the call?
I don't know. I've actually tried to get interviews with people from that party, because I just wanted to clarify, because there are people that believe that Bryon never asked Costello to go to the movie with him. And so I was trying to establish,
Is that true?
because supposedly he was, according to Linda Bowers, he was going around asking multiple people, "Hey, I want to go see the movie. Will you go see the movie with me?" And I just basically wanted to confirm it, but I was never able to. So I don't know.
So you weren't able to convert. Nobody else from the party was like, "Yeah, he asked me to go to the movie" or anything like that.
No.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, he made it's outgoing. So at 8:22, he had an incoming call from Chase. And then at 8:24, he has an outgoing call to Chase.
Wow. I didn't even realize that. So you're
Yeah.
right. So he did call Chase back. Interesting.
That
Why-
is
why
also kind of
why-
interesting too. On the night before you're going to go commit suicide, that you would then call your bank back and then tell your bank what? Like, well, I'm going to
no.
pay it.
So I think, once again, I think that would go more to the credibility of the lie. For instance, I get a missed call. This guy keeps calling me, and then I pretend that I'm calling him back and say, "Yeah, I'll meet you at 8:24 tomorrow in front of somebody that hears you." Or I'll meet you tomorrow at 9.
Oh, you think that he might have used that for a fake phone call?
Yeah,
Out
possibly.
as part of this
I
story?
don't know because I don't have the time stamp or like the time
Yeah.
it's on. I don't have a recording of the call or anything. I'm just making it. I'm just looking at the evidence from an outsider and being like, okay, well, if everybody that night is saying that he wants to take this story that he's meeting this pissed off townsperson, that right there is the ideal way that I would do it.
Mm.
I would just say, look, if somebody comes up to me and dude, what's wrong? Be like, oh, this guy keeps calling me, and then I call him back. Now to think ahead of time to set that up for a potential suicide, that's a lot. Maybe the guy's, I heard the guy's smart, so maybe he was really intelligent when it comes to that. But
Well, another thing that's interesting from this slide from the text up there, it looks like, so it's from home. So that's from the wife, which she asked him to get $20 and then she'll transfer it back to you. So they don't even have joint banking.
yeah,
Right.
And he does end up getting the $20 out that night. So again, could you?
I'm not saying it's money hard. It's just interesting that they split bank accounts.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
right?
It's part of, the other stuff that's going on in their marriage that they don't share a bank account.
And then she says, that's her texting. Were we going
I actually don't share a bank account with my wife, just so you know.
I don't either.
Did we just break that news right now?
I don't either. I did that in the first marriage. Learned my lesson. All right. So if you could stop at the bank, get $20 for Maddie, I'll transfer it back to you. And then it's were we going to the movie? So the wife actually was expecting to go to the movie as well.
Yes, because originally the plan was, and that's, again, one of the mysteries, the plan was that he was going to take Victoria to the movie with him. And again, that's sort of why I was trying to ascertain, I just really wanted to speak to somebody at the party, because from the family's perspective, did he actually ask Costello to go to the movies? We don't know, because he was actually supposed to take Victoria. So his wife is like bewildered at this point. Why? Wait, I was supposed to go to the movies with you. Why did you take Costello, essentially? But
Do we know what time the movie started? Was it a midnight movie?
It started at midnight. That showing.
It had to have been like the release day where they release it at midnight.
Right, that's what I was assuming.
Like it was one of those.
Because I've got like a bunch of questions around this, right? So one, and we'll get into when she sees him at home or sees his light goes off at home. But how long was the movie?
I think they're all 2.5,
Yeah.
like 2.5, over 2 hours.
Plus, you got 20 minutes of previews,
Right,
So he
yes.
wouldn't even be home from the meeting. The movie wouldn't. He wouldn't walk out of the theater until 3 a.m.
One
where
question
I'm
I
getting at.
have, and I wouldn't know because probably around that time would have been the last time I went to the theaters, but does that movie theater do assigned seating?
No, not back then. It didn't.
You don't think it did back then?
No, it was a COVID thing. It was when assigned movie theaters came out.
No, it was before that. Because
Only
like the
for-
theater, like in Strongsville, like you buy by the seat.
Different area. Oh, hold on a second. Let me.
Sorry, I'm sending you something else. I failed to send you the last.
No, that's okay. I just want to look this up. So this was Star Wars released in 2016.
Yeah, 12/16,
December
which I think would have been the last
2016.
one.
So that was.
'Cause I think he gets
that,
home-
That was Rogue One.
I think it gets home around midnight-ish, I believe.
Oh,
How
well then he would have.
long was Rogue
Or no, it couldn't have been midnight. It was a midnight showing.
One? So the movie was 2 hours and 13 minutes long, and you know that it doesn't start. It starts literally 20 minutes after the start time is when
Yeah.
the movie starts. So we know that. I mean, unless he left the movie theater early, but if it was a midnight showing, he probably wouldn't have left there until 2:45.
So then it was not a midnight like brand new release showing. Then in that case, it would have been
Why do we
earlier.
Why do
Well,
we say
because
that?
if he's home by, because if it was 12:01, he wouldn't have gotten home until after 3:00 in the morning. Then in that case, so meaning what I'm saying is that was not like one of those releases where the
Well-
first showing is the day of at 12:01 a.m.
We're playing the whole thing back, but what time did the party was till 11 ish?
That I don't know.
I think
Yeah, it was the party was. I think that it was still going
when he left.
when he left, but he left around 11ish, I believe, to get to the midnight movie.
So that does go back to the fact that it was probably a 12 o'clock start or 11.
Or you know what? Hang on though. I'm reviewing. So
Uh-huh.
apparently the movie started at 10. My time is completely off. The movie started at 10.
The movie started at 10.
Yeah. Because I was pretty sure he got home around midnight-ish.
So if the movie started at 10, he couldn't have been at the party for more than like 30 minutes.
And if the movie started at 10, then the movie really started at 10:20, then he would have left before the movie ended.
Yeah, because the movie would have ended like 12:20 a.m.
At least.
Give or take. Yeah, at least.
12.
Could have been
Well, if the
12:30.
movie, it would have been more like 12:50 because the movie is 2 hours, 13 minutes long.
Yeah.
So 20
I
minutes.
mean, that whole time. Okay, so we're not even involved in the case, and like already, like this doesn't make sense. Like I feel like I need like 50 more questions and another dozen pieces of art. Like
in another 8
I
hours.
need to see the movie ticket. Did he actually? I'm sure the movie has a recording of him entering and exiting the building.
They do. There is a video of him and Costello arriving and leaving, along with a couple of other people that have been brought up.
Do we know what time they left the theater?
I feel like I'm really doing a horrible job here.
No, you're not. I mean, because I'm asking you questions that like we're not in.
Yeah.
I don't
order
know
of.
definitively. I mean, I could probably if
we could find that at a later
if we pulled up
date,
the video, I probably could figure it out.
So you just sent me something, right? What did you?
Well,
send me?
that's we're not there yet.
Okay.
But I for whatever
Just to
reason,
prepare.
it's not in the folder.
All right. So questions around that whole timeline, because
I don't think that there's anything. And I guess that's probably the reason that I don't know it verbatim, because to me this is. I mean, yes, when in an investigation, you want to look. Honestly, I probably would have went back even further, maybe 2 weeks initially to start with. There isn't anything completely nefarious to me at this point, except there are some questions. Why did he go with Costello? But that could
not
be
only that, but why is the wife texting him if we're still going to the movie if the movie's over almost? So he didn't talk to his wife at all.
No,
that day
he didn't.
and
So
share.
supposedly well, not supposedly. I mean, there that is documentation in there. He tells Costello at some point, "Hey, my phone's dead. Can you call my wife and let her know that we're going to the movies?" Costello says that he doesn't know his wife's number, so apparently they're friends on Facebook. He sends her a message through Facebook.
Okay,
But
that's not
Victoria
on the timeline.
doesn't. Apparently, this is when. Well, I think it actually still is. Messenger's still separate. Supposedly, Messenger. Well, yeah, it is separate. So she doesn't see. Anyways, she doesn't see the message until like the next day.
Gotcha. Okay.
I wonder if that was the message that she was referring to, or that George was saying she was referring to when she said the phone lit up with the message at 2:00 in the morning or whatever.
There's been a lot of debate with that. The qualified answer that she gives is the fact that she didn't actually hear anything audible. She just saw the light of the phone go on and just assumed that it was a message, but she doesn't know for certain. And there's nothing really in his phone records around that time.
Yeah.
So we don't know why or what caused the phone to light up.
Yeah.
So other question I have was the where is it just going for that? Well, it doesn't matter. So she thought she was going to the movie. She's obviously not. We do have video of him entering and exiting the movie theater, so we can get those specific times. They live about 10 minutes from there. Okay, but 11:50, she doesn't know yet what's going on. And then you said it was 12:30. I will. What's the text there?
Those are both of her messages to him.
So she messaged him on WhatsApp.
No, I'm sorry. So that like the number 2 where it says 2, we were going to the movie. That's her also.
Yes,
because she's basically saying, "Hey, I thought we were going to the movie."
Right.
I'm sorry. I thought that's what you're.
No. And then what's the next one? The next one's happening. Oh, this is just messages that are taking place around that same time frame.
Yeah.
And again, it's sort of, to me, again, he's following through with tracking information for jewelry. Is this something like? I can only say if I was going to commit suicide, I'm not going to be worried about finding tracking information for
you're
jewelry.
not going to reply.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Brian, I'm going to be there tomorrow. Him and King's in the same town. Yeah, I mean, you would just need a lot more context to that to make an assumption.
What's
the timeline to me is a little shaky, but I know there's detailed times, but then marrying that up to Linda's or Victoria's statement regarding him being there at 2:02, or she wasn't sure it was 2:02. Was that what we were saying?
I believe, if I recall, I was actually a little later, like 2:20-ish.
Okay.
But she's not exactly certain.
Gotcha. The only reason I'm doing this because obviously I'm just trying to in my head narrow down the time frame that all this stuff could have happened.
No, I want you to pile on things. It's just unfortunately it's not something that I.
Yeah, you did.
I was looking at
investigation. No, it's okay. I mean, you didn't do the investigation either. So, all right. So, was there anything else on this timeline? Because the only thing, a couple pages.
So, yeah, if you want to go down. Do
you want to ask anything?
No, I was saying.
Yeah,
let's go on to the next slide. There we go.
All right. So these are talking about surveillance videos, which we'll talk about, and that's actually. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but so the next sequence of event, according to the official report, is that his vehicle is coming out of the administration building at
1:50.
I'm sorry. Right. That's supposedly when he arrives. 1:50
vehicle
into
similar to Macron's traveling west on Ridgewood to Township building.
I mean, these pictures tell me nothing.
Now, so I really want they rely very heavily for the timeline on this video, and I mean, I don't know if you want to pull up my video. I can just describe to you. All right. There's no way with certainty you can rely on this video for anything.
I mean, these are just pictures, and I couldn't tell you what I'm even looking at.
But that's a vehicle.
I
I get it's a vehicle, but I'm saying I couldn't tell what make and model that is.
Right.
Is the video clear? Maybe. No. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
And the other issue is that road. What is that? Wedgwood, I think, that's coming up.
Yeah. So
you will actually see, and I pointed out multiple times on my video. I go way out in minutia land, and I show that the vehicles like come and go, they skip. Like all of a sudden there'll be because the camera is set up for motion activation.
Yeah, right.
So the vehicles are like skipping all over the place. They're appearing out of nowhere. So you can't say definitively whether any other vehicle went into the administration lot, left the administration lot. You can't say any of that because the video is just all over the place.
Well, it's not video. It's not a consistent video.
Correct.
It's just showing a car hitting there, and they're probably 10-second clips or something like that you can watch.
It's not even 10 seconds. It's because a vehicle going by at 45 to 60 miles an hour, like it's
right. Well, that's the other aspect of it, right? Like the time frame of the actual video. But I'm just saying, even if they're constant recording with motion, it's probably 10-second clips. And then if there's no motion for 10 seconds, it doesn't record anymore or whatever. I'm okay. So 150. This is where we're saying it's this vehicle similar is traveling west on Ridgewood, which is this way or towards Lafayette. So it's coming from.
It's coming toward.
Route 3.
Yeah, coming. Right. Yeah. Yep.
Is what they're saying.
Yep. That's headlights.
Which
you're looking at there.
So right, but to me, once again, living here, I would never take that way.
To go
from the movie theater to here.
Well, technically, if he was driving from the movie theater, he would be coming down Lafayette Road, and he would be turning east.
Wait, he went home in the interim, though.
We do know that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
so we're assuming he's not coming back from the movie theater at this point. We're assuming he's coming from the house.
That's according to the official report. Yes.
And according to George's timeline, he went home. Remember, he was home, and there was the discussion of. He ended up on the couch. There was a fight or something. He ended up on the couch, and then she woke up. And
I don't think it was a fight. It's like he couldn't sleep, so he went down and said, "I'm going to go sleep on the couch."
This is news to me. So, what are you talking about? A fight?
No fight. I don't think he said it was a fight. I think he said that like he laid down and then he got up and he went and laid down on the couch. He's like, I'm gonna go sleep on the couch, which I guess is something he did normally.
Correct.
It wasn't like suspicious or anything. That it was just the fact that he got up. That was the last time she saw him, is when he got up to go lay on the couch.
Wait, let me do a plug real quick. If you want the actual quote, watch the prior episode with George Starsky, and you'll see exactly what he said. Okay, continue.
But there is no indication that I am aware of that there was any type of fight.
No fight, no argument. I don't think he said it was a fight or an argument.
You'll have to go watch the episode if you want. No, okay. So something occurred where he decided to sleep on that was according to George.
I don't think he actually did though.
That could have been when he got up and left. He just didn't go lay on the couch.
He was in. According to Victoria, he was in their bedroom. He was in the bed, and that's why she was alerted by his cell phone. what she had stated is that it was when he left the bedroom, she thought he was going down to sleep on the couch because apparently he would get too hot and in the bedroom, and apparently she likes it hot. He would get hot and he would go to sleep on the couch. So when he left the bedroom, she assumed that he was going back down to the, to the bed.
Makes sense.
Or the couch.
Yeah, I mean, that's not suspicious to me at all. The video evidence, like that part is a little bit, but
yeah. So this is just saying a vehicle similar to his during this time frame went in, or you can see it coming up the road. Although in that first picture in the left, it looks like that vehicle is actually past where the driveway is. I mean, just kind of
doesn't it?
Looking at the perspective of the gazebo, and then looking at like using the gazebo and the gas pump, and then also
unless it's literally at that moment turning.
I will be
very
objective because I've seen the video. There is a vehicle at that time that does pull in
and turn
to the
in.
administration line.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing that's what this is supposed to be right here, the
showing.
second part of the video. So this is like a little minute clip.
And it
right
stays until that is that last third.
As far as
picture?
we know, it stays.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Is
And
the video
this one is
surveillance.
of the stationary vehicle. There's another vehicle that pulls into the lot. It sits there for a little while. And the most aggravating thing to me, again, another missed opportunity, which I did clarify with Cloverleaf District Schools. There's at least, I can't remember if there's one or two school buses on Lafayette. There's a school bus that goes by. School buses at that time have cameras. Another missed opportunity for James Cartwright. Nobody requests they literally pass, the school bus passes that stationary vehicle right there at that point.
Oh my
we
gosh.
could have had really good video and just another missed point. And it also comes back on beach. When we get to Beachside, two school buses are driving up and down Beachside.
So another vehicle traveling west, so going the same direction, pulls into the township at driveway. And it does an immediate U-turn, I'm assuming, and then sits there at the end.
No, it sits there for a couple minutes and then it pulls out. Now they do supposedly there is some investigative notes, supplements where they try to figure out maybe it's a postal guy, maybe it's a newspaper delivery guy, but they can never figure out who it actually is.
Yeah, that could be a million things.
But there, again, objectively,
the fact
I don't see anybody
the whole time,
exit the vehicle.
Right.
I was going to say the fact it's on camera the whole time and the vehicle doesn't move from that location other than to leave, I wouldn't think that was suspicious. I mean,
sits there for 5 minutes ish.
they could be gone by that time.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because to me, at 6:19 or 6:24 a.m., I would assume that he's not even there at that point.
So
The body,
this is precisely why I wanted to show this, because this is the most curious thing to me. If you look at his pings between 146 and 447, the one circle is one radius, meaning that he could be anywhere in that radius.
right.
But that radius is, again, by Westfield Center that you brought up earlier, and his phone's pinging there at some point between 146 and 447.
It's that same place on Westfield
And it's outside of the accuracy of 2,500 meters. So 2,500 meters is that big circle, and his phone is pinging outside of that during that time.
during that 3-hour period.
Correct. Which is very odd to me.
Well, it's odd because it's pinging off that same tower at Westfield Center. So that goes back. If I was a detective and I found out where he went earlier in the day, I might suggest that he went back there again.
And I mean, it's very possible.
Now, do we know if, I know we can't talk about, and do we know if anybody in the case lives in that vicinity or?
I do. It's somebody that's on that face sheet.
Yeah.
I don't think that they were ever interviewed, but I've actually tried to reach out to them. They haven't responded back either. I'm assuming maybe that's why they're on the face sheet, but again, I have no idea.
It's interesting because the other part of this that nobody talks about, this could be your next big clicker.
Oh, here we go. Dun, dun, dun.
Blood diamonds, man.
I mean, that is
like, it's
that is
interesting that he's having all these after hours conversations about diamonds, and then he suddenly gets this ping. And I mean, Westfield Center is a well-to-do area with a lot of old money, and there could definitely be some people out there doing some, big dollar transactions in the middle of the night type stuff. But it's just curious to me, like, this guy gets up in the middle of the night and drives all like.
We're going to jump forward because I'm going to give you a little more tantalizing thing. There's a guy. On one of the videos that I do, there's an interview, it wasn't even an interview. There's a guy that did George talk about a guy calling Rick Evans when BCI is investigating and said, "Hey, I need you to help me find, or I need you to help me disappear a body like you did Bryon Macron."
I don't think that came up.
That didn't come up. We would have remembered that.
Gonna make that a hot clip
before
to start
before
this
you
podcast.
go. Yeah, we're gonna edit that. I will just say this, knowing a bit about pings, is that, and I see where the township building is in there, which is where they found his phone, right?
Correct.
That's where his phone was. This time of night, there's not a ton of activity on a tower, but it is possible that the phone never moved, but for some reason was pinging the secondary tower. Like that is possible.
It is, but unlikely only because of my experience. Again, you're looking, the cell phone companies will give you that accuracy rating.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
large circle is 2,500 accuracy, or the
Yeah.
2,500 meters.
Yeah.
You are correct. It's still possible,
Yeah.
but it's unlikely.
It's unlikely, or either that, or that's just not where he was. Like maybe he was at another location that was right where the circles are intersecting.
Well, and that's what I was
as
going to
well.
say, because we it's still a cell phone ping, right? So he could be
Yeah.
anywhere inside that circle.
Yeah.
It's not like he's sitting right. That's just the
Right.
the
Right.
center is just where the cell phone tower is physically at.
Right, and where the location is just point of reference showing where the building is. So I mean, yeah, like right where your cursor is, like he could have been out there. It's
Yeah,
possible.
I mean, he could have been right out here. What is this, Ryan Road area? I mean, yeah, right.
No,
Here's Route 3.
yeah, it's
This is 71, so Chippewa's.
it's
here.
around. That's the lake. Yeah, your thing is right above the lake, so west of the lake. Anyway, he could have been on Lafayette Road traveling.
Sure.
So
But-
the interesting thing that gives it a little more legs, in my opinion, and again, I still don't know,
Yeah.
but Logan Kosick calls Rick Evans saying, "Hey, I need you to help me disappear a body like you did Bryon Macron." And it just happens to be a very close friend of Logan Kosick's that he also called during that same time, that lives in that small radius. So it gives it, in my
Yeah.
opinion, it gives it a little more feet.
Like, is it was as a joke or just
We don't know. He was never interviewed.
Logan Kosick wasn't.
He's never been interviewed, even by BCI.
So now let me ask: isn't there a Mike Kosick that stays involved in this conversation online, or is another that Michael?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I thought it was Kosick. Maybe he has a different last name. I know there's a bunch of people that comment on Facebook on this case throughout our podcast.
Oh,
I
you're
thought
talking
one of-
about you're talking Khalil?
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
Khalil. You're right. Okay, never mind. I couldn't remember if it was the same name. That makes sense. All right, so then the last ping we have from his phone is
Back in
back in
the
the building,
administration building.
and we know that's where his building.
and that's at up through 7:51 a.m.
All right. So I don't know if the timeline, does the timeline go to the Lafayette? Or, I'm
This
sorry.
timeline does nothing for me. This
No,
just
I know.
makes. I mean, this is a terrible timeline. So I could see why BCI is frustrated. All right, here we go.
So there's also 636. Is that yeah? So this is, I think. I'm sorry. There's also another vehicle that like pulls. What's this talking about?
6:26 a.m.
Oh, they're
vehicle.
talking about this supposedly is Bryan's vehicle.
This is the U-turn vehicle. This is just the second half of it, right? Oh
No.
no. Oh no,
No.
this is 2 minutes after.
Yeah,
Okay, so I can't tell this vehicle that did the U-turn.
that's the U-turn
stopped,
and left.
So
could
the
have
U-turn
very well
so
came back.
The interesting thing is and I don't know what the script is talking about, but that vehicle that sat in the lot for a second, it pulls out almost at the same time Bryan's vehicle pulls out. So it gives a little bit of question. Were they waiting for if it is Bryan's vehicle, were they waiting for Bryan's vehicle to leave? The vehicle ends up pulling out, goes down the road a little bit, turns on its hazards and stops in the Wedgwood Road, and waits for the purported Bryan's vehicle to pull out behind.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Hold on a second. This vehicle pulls in.
Pulls in, nobody gets out.
This is the one that did the U-turn and stopped.
Yes.
And then, I mean, gosh, dude, you could have dropped somebody off.
So right before Bryan goes to pull, or what the authorities say is Bryan's vehicle. Right before that, his vehicle leaves. This vehicle pulls out, stops on Wedgwood, turns on its hazard lights,
And waits for
and
Bryan
then
to catch
Bryan's
up.
vehicle comes in behind. Not immediately, but they're basically following each other.
Wow.
The turnaround vehicle
Correct.
So that, I mean,
leaves his phone
and
behind.
what kind of, and both of them are black SUVs.
Yes.
And Bryan has a black Equinox, you said?
It's a black Equinox, yes.
And then did he have any other cars in his household?
I believe at that time, Victoria also had an Equinox. I can't remember if it was black or blue.
Gotcha. And then Mike drove an Equinox as well?
Correct.
Why was there, I
Like an Equinox
what the
crew.
hell?
And we're going to talk about that. Well, I mean, not necessarily about that, but that's some of the photos that I sent. We'll
So
talk about in a second.
potentially all three of these motherfuckers were there in the middle of the night. Like, God, they all drove Equinoxes? Come on. What are the chances?
Pretty fucking good, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, my gosh.
I mean, we don't know. I can't definitively say that. I can't even definitively say there was an Equinox that Bryan's vehicle.
Right, I was
so,
gonna say,
so
you
I
can't-
can't say that's an Equinox that's
Right.
Yeah.
stopped there. But
All right. So let's just get this out of the way. 0 cameras on the property of the township at this point in time.
so that's where the covert cameras come into play. Supposedly the covert cameras were there.
Okay.
They were installed.
But they're all indoors of the fire station.
We don't know that definitively.
they're covert.
There's a very distinct possibility that they were also in the administration building. Now, I've heard from sort of both sides. Some of the sides said that they just didn't know how to access it and that the video basically overrode itself.
Hold on. Wait. There was absolutely cameras, or we don't
know. We don't know.
So when the
I can't-
officers on scene didn't see a camera located in the building?
Supposedly, nobody even knew about it until several days pass, and Mike Costello says, "Hey, there's some covert cameras, by the way." And there's really I can probably I don't know if I can find it that quick. There's like a one-line thing that Cartwright says, "I reviewed the video, and there's nothing significant." That's it. He doesn't keep the video. He doesn't. He puts a one-line statement saying, "Hey, I watched it, and there's nothing significant here."
This is true crime at its best. This is insane.
This is like how to really screw up an investigation. Is what this is.
It's not only that. There's so much of this that's hearsay because there's no evidence along with it.
You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Like I could literally, Mike Costello could admit to it, and I could have him on court, and like I wouldn't be able to prove that he did anything.
Correct.
To that point, you would use the video you'd use it exclusionary. Like
Right.
you just provide it, just show that, this
You're
does
just
not
trying to give
show
him
anything. Right.
correct. But what I'm saying is all the different things, like, okay, the cameras that supposedly were there, but may not be there, but somebody said they saw them, but nobody took a picture of what the camera was in the building or like in the ceiling. Nobody went back and said, oh, here's a camera. Oh, wow, they're both in this room. Because at that point, the investigation would have refocused on those cameras, and you would have had tech teams in there trying to get access to those cameras, find the video, et cetera, et cetera. Am I right?
Absolutely. And again,
Yeah.
this is one of those points that I don't quite understand the silence with Mike Costello and Linda Bowers. They clearly know about the cameras. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on with these cameras? Now, I did reach out. It's on one of the episodes. I have recorded conversation of me talking to the person that installed the cameras.
So the company that
shortly.
actually invoiced them,
Yeah, I think it was called Media.
they're out of Stowe
114 or something like that.
Stubborn or they're out of Stowe area or something, aren't they?
And
Nobody, they won't talk to anybody from what I heard.
he briefly spoke to me. He sucked an attorney on me. I talked to the attorney briefly, and basically the guy said he was going to get back to me and never got back to me. So, yeah.
So we don't know specifically where the cameras were, because I've heard they were out in what was the fire department at the time. I've heard that there were no cameras in the trustee building in the
it's
township
possible.
building.
I don't. The only thing we definitively know that we have photographs of are from the firemen that discovered them in the original fire station, and they actually also just recently, I think in 2023, discovered more covert cameras at the Chippewa Lake, what used to be the Chippewa Lake Fire Department. apparently covert cameras were also installed there. They just got discovered in
Now,
2023.
covert, have you seen any of these cameras?
Yes, they were built into they're covert. They were in these exit signs. They had lit exit signs, and the cameras essentially were inside the exit sign.
Yeah. Okay. I just asked because I think all my cameras that are bought say covert security camera or something on them, but they're not covert where I have them at least. So the company, no information at all.
He wouldn't give me. They actually, believe it or not, the first time, and it's all recorded. It's sort of humorous if you ever get bored. I call the first time. I literally just get out Bryon Macron. Click. They hang up and they blocked my number.
Oh, I did see that interview you did, or the video you did. Yeah, blocked your number.
Yes.
What the heck?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Be right back.
All right, pee break.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So actually, you know what? We'll pause for a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a leak. Are you good on time, by the way? You okay on time?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm fine.
Cool.
1/3 the way through.
Well, it's funny. People will be like, how do you expect people to listen for 3 hours? It's like, I don't. I was like, but once again, when you're talking with somebody, like, you can't just put a timer on it because you don't know where the conversation.
Well, I don't want you guys to think you like owe me some sort of special treatment or something.
I'm not treating you special at all.
Okay,
I mean,
all
I'm
right.
genuinely interested, right?
Yeah.
The difference between, all right, we're back. The difference between having you and George on was, you're bringing up the evidence that I didn't. I wasn't gonna have George on and then like make him bring all his evidence. I was just interested about the story of process of him writing a book.
Okay.
Having you on though was because you have a different than the narrative view, which that requires more. And I knew you'd be prepared for it. And I was like, plus I just wanted to hear about your experience as well. I mean, you can tell that you're a detective. You can tell you're looking at all this. And it's interesting now as I look at it from a different perspective with a lot of this evidence in front of me. And, it's hard. It's not that I necessarily look at it as like I can see a motive for anybody, which is the weirdest part. I can't find him. I can't figure out a motive for him. But ultimately, the whole thing is either really well set up and prepared for, and it just is like this was the night we're going to execute it and we're going to do it this way, or
Obama did it.
Yeah.
I have had like weird tips that have come in that said that they were people were trying to rob him because they knew that he was a jeweler, and I've gotten weird, but again, there's no evidence. There's nothing to back anything up. Is the issue?
Yeah, it's not going to be a CIA level operation to rob a guy that's got a couple $1,000s worth of diamonds on his person. That's going to be someone from somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't, and this is why I'm like murder. I can't see the murder because I don't see a motive for murdering this guy. But then again, you only know what's in front of you.
Yeah,
and we don't know a lot.
No,
almost everything about this case is speculative.
Yeah, and rewinding back a little bit. I mean, it's interesting to hear not only people's stories, but just the different perspectives. Like if we had the ability to have every person that investigated every angle on this. We don't have that kind of time, but if we did, it would be interesting just to hear it because, two different people looking at things from a different perspective will have two different opinions. Sure. Multiplied by every item of evidence they look at, right? So it'd be interesting to see all of that, but
and then the last thing from it, he's got a couple of phone calls that hit at 8:50 and 9:10. I mean, nothing significant there. And the phone never left the building again. So it did leave at some point, most likely, in order to get that second ping.
It's possible. Yes.
We just don't know. Man.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's funny. I didn't watch the videos, but when you had somebody on, their image of them, they weren't like, you didn't see their face on the interview, but the image was like a car with like a flashing lights or something, like the lights.
Yes. That was Peggy.
And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at.
she for whatever reason didn't want her face. Which doesn't have
fine. I wasn't. It's not even that I was worried about, but it was the picture. I was like, what am I looking at?
Well, she has a theory, and so that's
is that part of her theory? Is
the car? So I actually noticed this also. I mean, again, we're sort of jumping around. I just at some point, please allow me to go back and talk about the blood spatter analysis because I think that's
100% going to talk about that.
But the next point is that he supposedly makes it to the Village Inn, which is a bar.
Right.
So they have a video camera there, which again there's certain ways. So when as a trained investigator and I go and I pull video, all right, I'm going to look at the timestamps of the video and correspond whether or not it happens all the time that the times are not correct. All right. And I'm going to write a report and I'm going to film it. And I'm going to take my cell phone that has the correct current time and show it against the time of the video system. And I'm going to take a picture showing, okay, this is the time it is now, the time that it should be showing, but hey, it's not showing that, it's showing something different.
Correct.
And then I'm going to document in the report, hey, it's an hour and 12 minutes ahead or whatever.
Right.
But of course we don't have that on any of the cameras.
So we don't know if this is accurate, like if this is a true timeline or not.
No. Now they state that this is in 6 o'clock in the morning. So are you able to pull the point that I want to show is one, again, you cannot definitively state that it's an Equinox. So there's a couple of pictures. This is the vehicle that investigators state is Bryon. Now the reason, is there another picture? Or?
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up. I can pull that one up.
But you can look at this picture. I'm sorry. Is that the only picture?
Those are the two you said.
There should be. Oh boy. Well, go back to the other. I mean, look at this picture. So this is Bryon's car.
Look at this.
Now, what I want you to see.
That did not look like an Equinox to me, the first picture, but I just wanted to look at this.
There are 3 stickers in Bryon's window.
Yeah.
There is a luggage rack on top of his car. Now go back to the vehicle that they state is Bryon's vehicle.
Yeah, that is a picture. Luggage rack.
And this might have to go on Discord because I don't think that was the photo I really wanted. There is a somewhat closer picture because it's going in sequence. But do you see any stickers on the back of the car?
Well, not only that, the taillights don't look the same. These aren't vertical taillights.
And I can assure you that the other picture, I don't know, you might not be able to see it in this picture, but there's no luggage rack on that car either.
I didn't even see that part. I mean, that to me, it's harder to see, but I can see that these are horizontal taillights. I mean, that's absolutely not the same car. This doesn't even look, honestly, you look at this front, this looks like a Subaru. I would venture in this area, if somebody went and checked, there's a black Subaru hatchback over there, just based off of, I mean, from far away, but that's not the same car.
Yeah, it looks more.
You see,
it looks a little more like a hatchback.
From
that angle.
Well, look how low it is at the ground up
That
here.
too.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way this is and like I said, those are vertical tail lamps. There's no way that's the same car. So they're assuming that's the same car.
They're stating, according to Detective Cartwright, that's the car.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, I wouldn't believe that for a second. I don't even know how anybody could look at that and think that's the same car. Interesting.
So now we get to the point where, at some point they figure out, hey, the car's got OnStar. They locate the vehicle. It's down and the beach side address. And again, I don't know if you want to look at the video, my video or not. You can't. You can't.
Yeah,
it's like blurbs.
Which video? Am I pull up?
You go to. There's a playlist, a Bryon Macron playlist. There you go.
Oh, that's my playlist.
Oh.
Want. Let's see. Playlist. Here we go. Right here.
Yeah.
Do not pay your next car insurance bill. Repeat.
Commercials.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see if
There's a great thumbnail right there. Perfect thumbnail photo.
Why is it not? Oh, it's over here. Here we go. Sorry. Which one of these is it?
There should be. I'm trying to find the title. I think it's like each side. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you had it. It's an earlier video.
Here, I should be able to click on.
Is there a way to go to the? Okay.
Oh, this is all super fresh in your mind. These are all over the last couple of months. No wonder you're on it like this. All right.
Oh boy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go back on that. I saw a knife and I was like,
Well, no. I'm just trying to figure out where it is. Oh, here it is. 15 missed clues, Stevenson footage. So if you look at the official police report, they note 3 events. There are 16, because there's 15 that are missing. Or I'm sorry, 18. No one else was involved. They stood at a podium, looked the public in the eye, and declared it case closed. I don't know if you want. You're more than welcome.
Do you know where you want to go?
Pick some points where I'm showing the video. Cars jumping, right here. There you go.
Is this the video?
No one talked about, and a mystery. This is the video that they're working with, and this is the video on my timeline at 18:23:16, and we've got a vehicle traveling northbound on Beach Avenue. Now, this is a 24-minute clip.
Is there something wrong with my clue, or is this what we're watching as dark screen?
Most of it is dead. But no, it's not going to be much better. But you're going to. This is the video that George says you can identify who Bryon is. Again, you don't have to take my word for it. Here's the file number right here. You can find it on Discord, just punching in that file number. All right, but we're gonna fast forward through to about 23 minutes, and most of these are really, really quick. I'm trying to wait for the bar to disappear. So again, we have a vehicle traveling northbound on Beachside away from the beach at 6:23 in the morning. Vehicle traveling northbound on Beachside away from the beach on this clip. And again, it's usually very quick. Apparently I needed to edit that a little tighter, but there you go.
Oh.
So that's the quality of video you're looking at.
You got to be fucking kidding me. No. That's the video that they thought they recognized him?
Well, no. But I'm showing each event that happened.
Okay.
I'm sort of going through like
each time it showed up. I got you.
But see if you can find one that's a pedestrian somewhere. I'm going back to and again, the files are out of order, so it looks like I'm skipping around, but I have my time. And I know that's a pretty descriptive vehicle also. Let's slow that down. I'm sorry, I should have got the timestamps myself.
No, you're fine.
But the video is like impossible to see anything. And when you even look at a person,
here it is. So this is a vehicle
that it probably could possibly be identified. Yes, this is the vehicle they're stating is Bryon's. So you tell me if you can see if that's Bryon's vehicle.
All right. Well, I can tell you that those are still horizontal fucking taillights. Right? Would you not call those horizontal?
Yeah, it's a little difficult to tell.
I mean, it's still hard to tell, but
so terrible.
I mean, maybe it's just because of the angle. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
It could be. Let's see if we can. Yeah. All right.
But
either way,
the actual pedestrians that you see are blobs, and then often they're appearing at the very bottom of the screen, and you almost don't even see that. Oh wow, you just see like a motion, like a imagine, and you're like, oh, that was a person.
Name on it. Well, it's pitch dark. It's pitch dark. You can't see.
A picture's worth 1,000 words, but in this case, a single visit to the scene.
It's pitch dark. You can't see anything.
According to George, you're able to identify that that's Bryon walking by, and that's where, again, I have nothing against George. I hope he sells 1 million copies of his book, but that's not. It'll be fiction. But there's no way you can identify that that's Bryon.
No, I mean I would agree. There's no way. I mean, but there's once again, it just adds to the additional lack of evidence supporting anything, and I think that's where I'm more at than anything after today, even is just looking like, do I still think it's not necessarily self-inflicted, but somehow self-created to a degree.
Bring up my blood spatter analysis.
All right,
yeah, I was going to say, because the two most interesting points that, I mean, and again, we could spend 6 hours on this, but I think
which one is the blood spatter report? Missing person, report redacted.
Says, in our missing person.
I got it.
So I think that definitely, number one. Number two, right behind this, I think is when contact with the wife started. I think it's interesting to talk about that as well after this part.
You mean as far as the sheriff's department meeting? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
meaning from her contact.
Okay.
Which obviously the investigation, to your point, it's a homicide. To her, it's a missing persons case, right? So, I think we can go on to that after this.
Yeah, let's go. This is the bloodstain pattern analysis. Who's this done by?
It's done by Dan Ritter from
Okay.
BCI. He
Okay.
actually is a blood stain expert. Again, I've used him personally on multiple homicides. I can attest to his experience, if that means anything. So he's talking about the different patterns. There's a total of 14 different patterns. And if you just sort of flip through, he'll go through and just...
For me being a civilian, 14 bloodstain patterns. I mean, there's only 14 spots of blood.
Yes.
14 total.
Different, yes. At different...
There could be a big one. It could be a tiny one.
Correct.
But there's only 14 different packs of blood.
Could be transfer. It could be blood spots. It could be
But if I had let's say I had drip, 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 that would be multiple blood patterns. It wouldn't just be one. Or
those,
could it be one?
I'm pretty sure he puts them as one.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just wasn't sure how that was understood. All right. So
The other important thing that I want to note is he does a hemospat blood stain pattern analysis. Now, hemospat is a pretty technical piece of software for blood pattern analysis. And I just wanted to throw that
it takes
out.
like 5 days.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it must be because it takes like 5 days.
Yes.
Everything else is done on December 16th.
Yes.
All right.
So he talks about the definitions: altered stain, area of origin, blood clot, and blood stain.
this is just the definitions of
Yeah,
words
that he's going to use in his
right,
report.
right. All right. So let me just ask form by Alex.
That's boilerplate stuff because this becomes evidence.
A deposit of blood on evidence. Okay.
So some of the important things that I want you to pay attention to: cast off pattern. Cast off is when something is bloody and an object is raised and blood transfers from that object in air and goes to
Kind of like if I take a handful of water and I go like that and throw it across
Yes.
the room.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then you have impact pattern, which is an actual, from that pattern, blood is formed.
Wait, hold on. From the impact of the blood hitting something, you mean?
From
Or an instrument.
Yes. Yeah, an instrument or something.
Yeah, like blood splattering and hitting a table, like that splatter you're talking about, or you're saying the splatter that results from.
Correct. So, like, if you were next to that wall, and I mean, it could be theoretically anything. If I was powerful enough to cause you to bleed with my hand, and I punched you, and somehow blood came out of that impact.
Okay. So that's what the impact pattern is.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the swipe pattern less. I mean, it's not less important, but a swipe pattern is essentially where there's blood possibly already there, or there's blood on your hand, and you like if I had blood on my hand, or there was blood already here on this wall, and I put my hand over it and moved it, that's a swipe pattern.
Mm-hmm. Spatter, stain, blood start resulting from dispersed air due to internal force. Okay.
So reviewing what, and again, I'm not faulting you guys. Please don't take this away. When I reviewed the video with George stated that this report indicated that it was self-inflicted, if I recall correctly.
I don't remember if he said it was self-inflicted or he said it was staged.
Okay.
You will have to watch the other episode with George Starsky to see exactly what it is he said.
Okay. Now, if he did staged, I will requalify myself because that is somewhat the opinion. But I think where people are confusing is staged doesn't mean that Bryon staged it necessarily.
Right.
It just means that it was staged.
So, once again, just from my experience I do have some experience in the sense of how blood reacts to different things, like mostly bullets, right? So,
You do have experience with that?
Just from being in Iraq.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've seen a ton of different ways that a bullet can affect one person and then be 25 different ways, even though it was within a couple inches of the same round, right? The only thing that I thought when I saw the crime scene was that based off of the injury to the neck and based off of how much blood was there, I felt like there wasn't enough blood. I felt like it was like an intermediate amount. Does that
See?
I don't
It's
know.
very intriguing to me because Cartwright says the same thing, and I've been on scenes where there's been hardly any blood, but there's blood out. So I don't
have you. I
doesn't.
haven't. So I mean, I haven't been in a scene where I'm investigating it from that perspective. To me, I just thought like, okay, so the cut in the neck was a pretty bad cut, would create a lot of blood. I mean, I could just show you the front patio where my dog bit my wife's nose and freaking she poured out blood all over the freaking place.
And just because I don't think we actually were recording at that point, the and I'm going to refer to it as a stab because that's what the autopsy refers to it as.
It looks
stab
like a
wound in the
stab.
neck went all the way to his skeletal bone.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that on there.
I don't think that he stabbed himself.
So
I mean, if he did, he's a fucking badass.
So the whole point of this report
to that point, I mean, yeah, to self-inflict, like the neck is like if you're gonna try and stage it, like if you're not trying to kill yourself yet, if you're trying to make it
that's
look
what I'm
like
saying.
it's like that scene in Scream where they start stabbing each other, and he's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, that one went a little too deep. Like I feel a little woozy here." Like,
well, that's what I'm saying because the idea, like the idea that he killed himself is that he's cut himself up and stabbed himself and then drove from Lafayette Township to Chippewa and then walked out to a lake, right?
that's the official theory.
Right. So to me, that's like, okay, well, one, that either didn't happen here. Two, when did he fucking pull the knife out of his fucking neck? Because and how deep was the wound? Do we know?
I think it's, well, I mean, it was an inch and a half wide. I mean, it went down. I don't know if they measured, but it went down to skeletal, his bones.
I mean,
I guess theoretically, I guess it might not be that deep. I mean, I guess your bone's right there, but I mean,
I guess it just depends on exactly where it's at in the neck. Like, I mean, you can kind of see on there, but I think, it could not be that deep. You're right. I don't know. I didn't see if there was a measurement on that.
Hang on, let me see.
That'd be interesting to find out because I'm sure they did do that measurement. At least hope so.
So the important thing that I took away from this report is if, in theory, we believe that Bryon did this to himself, the only way he could have done it to himself is he literally would have had to have been moving around while he was cutting himself because there is cast off, there is impact patterns. So if he's doing it to himself, he's got to be skipping around the conference room, just stabbing himself. Is the only explanation.
Definitely don't think that's where it happened at. I thought it was more like in the sense of somebody came in and was like almost like it was a ladle, blood. You know what I mean? Like, because I thought there would be more.
Well, so if you scroll down, there's
no
photos.
blood on the desk, right? There's no blood on the chair, isn't it? Like on the walls and on the
pretty much on the walls, floors, the conference or the walkway going outside.
Oh, there was blood on the walkway going outside.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
You can actually, if you scroll down, I think there's photos of the.
Okay, let's get to that part. All right. It's just a walk out of the area. Well, here, let's just talk about.
So he's going through each one. Pattern A, pattern B.
Right. Pattern where is on the wall. I just want to see how does it say 5 feet up from the floor? And this is we don't know where these wounds come from. So 5 feet up from the wall, 2.5 up from the wall, 7.5, basically 7.6 feet up the west wall, 2.5. I mean, all right.
So if you can see, there's A, B,
C.
C.
Look, there's the stickers.
So that's the. I'm assuming the transfer.
Yeah, this is definitely a wipe, right?
Correct.
I mean, you could see someone wipe whether they were. I mean, that's an interesting one to me because I don't know where it was. And then this one
is D.
Can't really see what that looks like.
Now the other
and
the other misleading thing is
Is this?
And I don't know if I have photos.
Are these the blood spatters? These
There,
little dots
yeah,
that
there's
are marked?
our part of the impact. I think they're cast off. The other interesting thing, and I don't think I have a photo. And again, I can't think of everything. I guess this door, when it's closed, there's actually more blood. So this door was closed.
Right.
There's blood that's actually going across the back of the door towards the frame of the door.
So David brought up an interesting point. He's like, these are taken the next day and the blood is still bright red. Was there documentation that it was still mixed with something else?
No.
Or was that...
And that is one of the rumors, that it was diluted. It was watered down.
Right.
There's nothing in BCI's report that indicates anything like that.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
Well, I was also questioning the direction of the swipe as well.
Right. Which my thing is, like, if the blood was enough to get all the way up to here, like you either, but not enough, but it didn't start down here.
Well, this is what I think is being labeled as cast off. So whether it was from
Right.
a hand or from a blunt object, the knife, whatever.
But for enough blood to be spewed like this in these big chunks.
At that low of a level, like, I mean, what was he bent over when he was stabbed? Like, but there would be much more of a struggle, or I think.
But then I would think I would see a whole bunch of blood down here.
There would be.
I would see puddles. Why is it? There's this much that he could wipe it on the wall, but not enough to make a puddle on the floor.
In my opinion, it's all in a very closed area, and this room was like actually very deceiving. I went back there when I started looking at this case. This room is like really super small.
Oh, really?
And these photos make it look like it's much bigger, in my opinion. But this is all confined in a very small area. I personally think if he is there, he is getting attacked. If that is the case, it's going to be a quick incapacitation. He was probably stabbed in that neck first, and he was basically incapacitated to the point where he was maybe wobbling around at that point, if he is there.
So let's play it by order. I get stabbed and get it. The incapacitation is the neck wound, right? So maybe I put my hand over it immediately, and then I wipe down here.
Could be losing balance. I mean, we could go
at
a million ways.
At that point, though, that I could actually see that. My thing then is like, and what, they just sliced his arms a couple of times after that. That's the part that doesn't make sense. Like if he's still struggling and I'm killing him after that neck wound, like what am I doing? I'm just
isn't he finished off right then and there?
So it's
right, and then right. That's the part that doesn't.
And
make
it's
sense
interesting because the autopsy. I mean, I have the report also. The coroner or the medical examiner. I'm sorry, the Cuyahoga County medical examiner talks about there's no defensive wounds, but there's also no hesitation marks. Hesitation marks generally are derived from someone self-inflicting. So there's no hesitation marks, but he can't find any defensive wounds either, which again leads me back to it was quick incapacitation.
Or somebody he knew, in the sense of he trusted him and didn't have a chance to, or it's staged and somebody he helped him do this. Like, I mean, there's no evidence to either. It's an interesting case because only had cameras that could tell you what happened.
So the neck was the worst of the wounds.
Yes.
And because it looked like all the other wounds were pretty superficial.
So these are blood splatters too, right?
So if from the first picture A, that's from
this is the wall.
The top part. Yeah.
This
I
is
don't know if you can
interesting
see
because this almost looks like a brush.
Each tag is a little
Or
blood droplet.
Like it looks like you
think-
went like that and then down, like over top of
the only part of that is
weird.
With the amount, there's that thicker stream that's right there. Like there's that part there, which is, and then it kind of is pooling again around the bottom. So I don't know.
But let's look at the shape of this.
Yeah.
Like, so you had all this blood that was from your hand and it didn't get on your fingers. Like you didn't have like like, how is it like get big and then get normal or small? You know what I mean? Like it is super freaking weird, man.
Yeah. If anything, I mean, it almost
It makes me
I don't
want to
see
test
anything.
this theory.
I don't see anything that even looks like a handprint in that. Like, I mean, it could maybe if you had a glove
Comment
on
below if you want
and
us-
you were kind of just again, okay, that wound hit deeply. Now, if you're facing toward the door,
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm showing. This is the specific. See how this one right here almost looks like it overlaps.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
It's almost like it's twisted.
yeah.
It's almost like somebody went, but it I don't know. It's just weird the way that it looks. I would think that to me
If it
doesn't
were
look like a normal.
if it were a hand, the problem with that is that the hand doesn't get narrower as you're swiping down. You tend to, you may start like this, right? But if you're trying to wipe it down, it gets bigger because your fingers might even separate as you're trying to brush.
That's what I'm saying. That's
What side was that wound? Was it on his right side or left side?
So he had
I'm trying to remember from
Yeah.
that photo. I believe.
So he's got 4-inch. So he's got the stab. Or are you talking about the neck wound?
Yeah,
or?
the neck wound.
Which
I want to say that
Right
was
side.
on the right side
Right
from
side.
that photo I saw earlier.
centered 8 inches below the top of the head and 3 inches right of midline. 3-inch long gap linear stab wound. The wound is oriented in a roughly 4 o'clock interior end to 10 o'clock posterior superior in position. The edges and ends of the wound are sharp. In the mid region of the wound, a half inch skin tag extends from the superior edge of the wound. The skin tag points anterior. The posterior end of the wound has an approximately 1/2 inch long superficial trailing cut, with the edges of the wound reapproximating the distance from the anterior end of the wound to the skin tag is approximately 1 1/8. The surrounding skin is red discolored.
So there's no depth measurement, right?
I'm sorry?
There was no depth measurement of the wound.
No.
Well, other than we know that it
No.
went down to it hit the bone.
It says
Like he went that
the stab
far
wound penetrates the skin. Subcutaneous tissue then penetrates into the skeletal muscle of the right anterior neck.
Oh, so it doesn't say the bone anyway.
Right. The skeletal muscle.
Skeletal
so
muscle.
the muscle that's over your skeleton. And then it's to the right internal jugular vein and right common carotid artery.
So
I mean, we've got photos that we can look at offline, but
yeah. Well, it's obviously that's the incapacitation wound.
That's from the hemospat.
Oh yeah.
okay. So this is how do I read this? I'm not familiar with the hemospat.
So essentially, can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this way. Okay, so we're looking at pattern view or pattern B.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So these are the points that are possible essentially to pattern B is what we're looking at here.
Okay. So the pattern B, he's saying like it could have came from this angle and then this angle.
I think it's two different.
It's two different.
impacts.
Yeah.
It's blood going this way
Yes.
and this way. So they're crisscrossed. I mean, so if somebody was creating that, it would have been something like that and then something like that.
Gotcha.
Two different sprays.
Gotcha.
Which, if you're looking at that, if you put a body in front of a wall, that means either the body turned or two different wounds from two different angles. I was asking about like what side of his body. I mean,
Because of the door, if he was behind maybe.
well, we know the door was closed, and if you're fighting with somebody or they came in through the door and then closed the door behind them, you still have the natural tendency. You're not going to go run to. If this is not a big room, right? First of all, but you're not going to face a corner. You're still, fight or flight mode. Regardless, you're always thinking about flight.
oh, there's
And the other interesting, and I honestly didn't even look at this until you were just talking about this. So he has all these superficial wounds. Left side, another one on the left side, right side, left forearm, mid left forearm. So they're like on both sides of his body.
Right.
So I mean, I guess
but most of them are on the left, right?
correct. Yes.
And if he's a right-hander, he probably started in that side of his body, and then maybe if these are self-inflicted, it's a matter of and then
Which side of the neck was it? Left side?
It's the right
The
side.
right side of
So
the neck.
the wound would have been, and I guess here's the interesting thing. Unfortunately, the evidence on his body is not preserved. 'Cause that's the other thing is that, okay, so if he has a friend helping him, you're standing vertical. You're not in a fighting position. And so, in which case, where the blood drop's going to go, they're just going to go straight down. But if you're in a fight, where are they going to go? They're going to go fucking everywhere. They're going to be all over the floor. They're going to be over all
your
the furniture,
Well,
whatever.
and your-
I'm not going to just, okay, you're a trained assassin, but you're just an amateur. So I'm going to just stand still while you attempt to kill me. No, I mean, your natural
gonna
instinct is to fight unless you're doing this to yourself, or maybe he was drugged, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. The curious thing about that though, is that, yeah, once you have that neck wound, why not finish the job? Or maybe that did finish the job. Maybe that was it.
And then you just cut him for fun afterwards.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is what order did these go in?
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. So this says there's 2 suspected fingerprints that were visible in the blood.
Yes.
Do we know?
Thank you for noticing that,
Yeah,
because we don't know.
Are you kidding me?
No, they were they were never submitted for comparison.
You have to be kidding me. So this is BCI's inspection.
Yes,
They noticed the fingerprints.
correct. And
The-
I'm sure that they told Medina County
To
hey,
run
we have
these.
fingerprints. Yes,
They may not have been readable too, though. That's
possible.
a possibility.
Or they could have been somebody that wasn't in the system.
but again, that would be something normally you would write in a report. Hey, there's it's not permissible to run these.
Right.
Yeah.
That is really weird.
Yeah. Again, like exclusion of the evidence. You can say, oh, we collected it, but yeah. Not readable.
I see the blood pattern is just so weird to me because
Now they're
like
That's the bottom part of the door, right?
Yeah.
That D.
yeah, it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like it's
and
on
this
the-
is where I was talking about. If you close the door, the blood actually goes across.
Across the door.
so it's not just a patch, right?
So this
there.
could be you're on hands and knees, you're struggling, but again,
Oh, there it is.
with gravity.
Well, hold on a second.
See, I'm better than I thought. I didn't know
Oh.
that photo was there.
Hold on a second though. There's
With-
blood on this door. This is blood, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought Rick said that when he showed up, the door was half open.
He did.
So that means that the guy that did this was in there with the door closed.
Yeah, I mean, at least at this point. I mean, it could have maybe started open.
Yeah,
went
but
shut,
if
or-
you were killing somebody, why you wouldn't close the door behind you and lock yourself in the room with them, because then you have to open it up. I mean, you're just creating all kinds of different points for evidence.
Well, I mean that
This
again.
definitely shows that the room had. I mean, and the other thing is, there's not that much blood. So
Yeah, like if you're on all fours here and you're fighting, and that's like an arm up against the wall, let's say.
right,
I mean,
the door-
it
right,
could have
that's what I'm
been.
saying the door's closed.
It could have also been.
or could have
from
been
a
open
leg.
and like through the struggle closed. I mean,
well, and then,
Yeah.
but I'm saying then if you're the guy who leaves, you have to carry a body with you. So how's the door only halfway closed? Did you go back and make sure you closed it a little bit before you left? You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like if you're
to
carrying, Bryon wasn't
leave.
a small guy, you would have to open the door all the way to
Yeah.
leave.
I see what you're saying.
So then why would the door only be halfway closed?
like closed over.
It's just interesting
Yeah.
to think of the scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to. I guess I have always just assumed that he was cognizant enough, because I mean, his boot prints do appear in that walkway out.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
did
his
walk
boot-
out here.
So there's 2 sets of boot prints. One is Bryan's, and another is an unknown.
Boot prints in blood.
Yes.
So Bryon walked out of this office.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't dragged. You would see.
Well, that's
obviously,
what
if it
that's
was
what
dragged,
that's what
but
I'm
yeah.
right. That's what I'm curious about.
It'd be
Like
different.
how because I know that you can see how much weight was being put on the foot by the footprint, right?
Right.
Like if it was barely a footprint, then he might.
Oh,
Have
yeah. I mean, it's
carried
a good.
this-
Both of them are very
heavy.
heavy.
Do we know the size of the other boot print or anything? Do we know anything about the extra boot print? Does that? That's crazy. Is it me, or would you think that this report would be different? I never looked at a police report this much in detail, but I don't know what I expected. Let's
So
see.
that, just scroll back up just a little bit. So, I mean, that to me, it's one of two different things. Assassin, because everything's all in one spot, or contrived one way, like whether it was together or by yourself. And yeah, I don't know. It is quite a bit of blood for doing it to yourself.
But it's a lot of blood in like 3 spots.
It's really in one spot. You can see where he was standing,
Right.
Which is, in the middle of that, where you've got, that void right there, like right near where your cursor is.
I mean, I guess I can share this to you if you want, but this is showing the boots. So Q1 and Q2 are most, well, it could be. It doesn't actually, I actually have to requalify what I told you earlier. They could be Bryon's. They don't know definitively. And then, but this boot mark is excluded as Bryon's completely.
But it doesn't say like the size.
No, there are photos of it. I do know.
Well, I'm assuming this blood report would have it. No,
Here we go. I'm not sure. This is, which one are we looking for? Q3. So this is where are we? This is the unknown boot print.
Oh, so it does have. I mean, those boot prints could be any boot print.
But it is interesting to me because they are going out. Both of them are going out. So you think in theory, if it's Rick Evans or you think if it's Michael Costello, I mean, yes, they could have gone, it could have been going out, but why wouldn't they also have stuff going in? I don't know. I mean, I guess you could.
Was it
get
only
the
those?
transfer.
Was it only like one time that the boot made a print, or was it like 5 or 6 boot prints?
No, there was 3
Total boot prints.
Yeah.
That's also very weird. Because if that blood was fresh and a lot of it, I feel like you would have like 4 steps.
And I'm pretty sure. Let me look at the picture.
Well, the blood would have still been fresh enough to pick up tracks at still, assuming that this happened. I mean, we have to assume this happened at some point between the time. Well, it did happen between the time he arrived there, 2:00 in the morning, and then the time that he left, which was 6:30, whatever it was in the morning, 6:26.
Right, but these boot prints were made with blood on the bottom of the boot. So my thought is, like, if let's say,
well, when Costello went in to clear the building, it could have been
he could have stepped in it right then and there.
It would have been fresh enough for him to pick up a track and then track it around.
Right,
that could be those boot print.
But the other boot is most likely Bryon's.
Right.
So how did that, does that make sense? Like his boot print specifically, if he was the one bleeding and that was still a puddle of blood, which the other thing is interesting is you don't see the boot print in the puddle of blood.
Correct.
That doesn't make any sense.
The other interesting thing is it's only the right. So Q1 and Q2, which they state could be Bryon's, it's only the right foot of the boot. Both
so
times.
his left boot that he was in that room didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very confusing. Man, makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make sense now. Now I'm like sure that it was not there and that the boot prints are just to throw something off or whatever the case might be, because otherwise there would have been a blood boot print in the blood on the floor.
Right.
You had to get the blood on your boot somehow.
Yeah.
And if it happened, especially if it happened the next morning when they walked into the room, they would have absolutely had a footprint in the blood.
That's what I'm saying. Like while he was
sticky and not completely dry, but kind of dry, and the guys cleared the building, accidentally stepped in it, you would have absolutely seen their boot.
But this room is, you said it's pretty small, like 10 by 10 ish.
I honestly think it's probably about maybe a little bigger than, like, from your point of that wall to this wall. Maybe a little bigger, but that's
one point of entry, just that door.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not a walk-through room. So to clear that room, you would have done that in the doorway.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't even had to have gone into the room.
So,
which I believe he states that he's pretty certain that he did not go in the room, but I don't know if he said that because he knew that he screwed up, and he might have just said that, oh, I didn't go in there.
Yeah.
They sort of like implied, well, you screwed with our crime scene.
Yeah.
So he answered, well, no, I didn't even actually really go in. I just looked in.
Right.
Well, I wonder how much he got sweated on that, because to that point of when they're asking for the boots, like, it's to exclude you in that particular case. Like, we need your boot to just make sure that that's not the other print we're looking at here.
Well, so here's the other thing too. This is on the way out.
Yes.
One blood spot right here.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
have you seen my front?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's from my
Still.
wife getting a bloody nose.
Yeah.
And that's been 2 weeks now. And there's a lot of blood there. And she didn't have enough to fill her hand, but it just dripped out.
Yeah.
For that guy to put that much blood into that room and then walk out with just like a drop, like
I think there are additional. Isn't there additional, or maybe is it just L?
I think it was just L.
Oh, that's the bathroom or bed. Yeah, the bathroom sink.
So he went to the bathroom and there's blood in the sink.
Yes.
So that could have been, well, yeah, could be the killer. But is this just all blood? Is that what that is?
I honestly think it's just a speck.
Oh. Is this in his office?
Yes, there's blood on these contracts, I believe. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's a pretty small speck.
Yeah, these are the documents or something.
So that room was not his office.
Yeah, it was his office.
Yes, that is part
That
of
is
it.
his
Apparently,
office.
they like have a shared, like all trustees and the fiscal officer. That's their office essentially.
Got it.
But
Got
I
it.
don't believe I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain it's not his desk. I believe it was Shirley's desk, where the contracts and the blood was.
Okay.
I got you. All right, so we're 2 hours and 40 minutes into this. Let's wrap this up so we can spend a few minutes on what you're doing now,
Okay.
Well, hold on.
if that's all right.
Hold on. That's not all right. Because there's the most important piece of this. And I said earlier, you look at me surprised. I already told you I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So they go to notify Victoria. Then what?
You're asking, they go and notify Victoria?
Yeah.
And-
So he's missing, because this is all morning of, day of, and all of that. So now they go to notify her.
Yes.
So then what happens?
So she immediately calls the FBI. Within moments, I think, and she's telling the FBI that she doesn't believe what they're saying, and she doesn't think that they know what they're doing.
Is this call recorded?
I don't think it's recorded. Now, I have tried to get records from FBI. I'm actually still waiting, if they even still exist. But she's been adamant the entire time that she did not believe from the start what was going on. And I think you can actually hear, there is an interview, a body cam interview, when they originally come over. There was also other things that she wasn't trusting. They came over like several times to have her sign for the same. I don't know if it was I think it was his phone. They were trying to access his phone, and they kept repeatedly coming multiple times with the same document. And she's like, "Why do I have to keep signing this thing? I already signed it." I think Stanford comes back the next day and tries to get her to sign it again. That's when she's like, "Oh, I already signed it. Why do I need to sign it?" And I think at that point she reaches out and contacts an attorney. Now, I know that it's a point of contention to a lot of people. Again, just through my homicide investigations, it happens quite frequently where attorneys or families hire attorneys, whether they hire them for their own, worried that, hey, your police are going to start looking at me. I need somebody in my corner or whatever. I don't know. But I do know that that's not completely uncommon or unheard of. So just like I necessarily don't think anything about Rick Evans calling Stanford directly, I don't think anything odd or nefarious that Victoria wanted an attorney. But
I mean, I could see why. My more important, I want, like, is there documentation that she actually called the FBI of any sense? Like, we've got her phone records, right?
I don't. I don't honestly know if they. I don't think they actually did. I don't think they actually subpoenaed her records.
Are you serious?
For George, according to George, they do have her phone records because the part of
Wait, you're not supposed to share that, right? Is that the part you're not supposed to share that's in the book?
No,
Sure.
I'm positive.
Okay.
No, I'm positive. No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
But and that was one of the things that we talked about quite a bit is that, and you would know that when you watch the episode with George Starsky. It's another. Is that where you're setting up a plug? No, because we talked about that at length. Is that she didn't, and her calling the FBI, that's new. It's the first time I heard that. But we talked at length that nobody once tried to call him. They know from his cell phone records, nobody was calling his phone looking for him.
Correct.
Right. I mean, I brought that up with my friend who went missing in the lake in Texas. Like he had over 100 phone calls from friends and family.
I thought there
are people that are. I think Victoria's calling him. I think even Rick Evans calls him like right on scene. It's like 7:30 or something like that. There are calls to Bryon's phone.
Okay, so that was then. So that varies from what George was telling us that Victoria never tried calling.
There's also
him.
Oddities, and it's way going in the weeds, and probably would take another hour of explanation. But there are thousands of deleted entries from his phone while the phone is supposedly at the administration building and Bryon's not. So the question is who deleted all of the entries to the phone. So, but that's
entries, meaning like
scheduling events, emails, calls, texts.
Just to delete a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
He must have
while he's supposedly at the lake wandering with the jogger, his phone's getting mass dump deleted.
But were they able to recover any of that information?
Some of it was recovered, but most of it, no.
Really? Interesting. Why do I feel like if I tried to do this shit, I would get caught? Like fucking, oh yeah, we got your whole mass dump. Try to delete your browser history before your wife saw. But busted.
I did just look cursory. I mean, I still could be wrong. I'm not seeing any records from Victoria being subpoenaed.
That's surprising if she felt like she needed an attorney and she wasn't even considered a person of interest.
Well, she was. She was at the top of the.
Yeah, but it doesn't appear that they put any real effort into investigating.
They did compare her DNA.
Well, okay, to the incident.
To the two unknown DNAs.
And it wasn't a match.
Correct.
But I would imagine if there was suspicious around a staged blood scene and there was suspicious belief in that he offed himself or killed himself and staged the scene or any of this, my first thought would be, well, did he do it himself? Because there's a lot of evidence says that wouldn't be possible as far as the whole drive to Chippewa Lake thing. So if I was really investigating the wife, I would be doing a deep dive investigation into the wife.
Mm-hmm.
I want all your phone records, especially when she's making claims that she's called the FBI. Who did you speak to at the FBI? What did you say to the FBI? What were you getting?
Did she say she called the FBI, or is that's on body cam, or that was during the initial contact of your husband's missing?
No, she had communicated that with me. I don't think she ever told anybody, like from the sheriff's department. I think you can tell from her body cam exchange that she does not trust whoever's there. I think it was Sanford at that point. You can tell that she's being very, regimented with him, but I don't think she makes any comment.
I haven't seen her body cam footage interview. So I'll have to collect that one next because I was interested. I heard her interview with you live and I was like, That's what made me think that she was involved somehow, and I don't know her. I don't pretend to know her, and I'm not saying that that's the actual case. It was just like the way that she handled the interview. It seemed like she had so much hate towards Linda Bowers that I was like, what are we even talking about here? Linda Bowers absolutely didn't kill this guy. Like I don't see any evidence or reason for it.
When was that? When was that interview?
That was actually one of my first, and I guess that's why it's horrible because. I didn't even know half the case at that point.
So that was like about a year ago then? Because you're
probably
toward the beginning of the channel. Yeah. And by that point, I guess if I were her, I'll put myself in her shoes for a minute here. So a year ago, 2024. So 8 years has gone by at that point. And, you know, she's pretty bitter, I think, about all of it at this point, right?
think she
This
is.
is because there's you know, I said this at the end of the other episode, and we're getting close to that, just so I say it now to, you know, the entire Macron family. Like, we truly are sorry for your loss. I know we're taking certain liberties in talking about this as people who live nearby, and, you know, we don't know. Will and I don't know, as, you know, the hosts here. Like, you know, we're curious. We want to know, and we'll talk to everybody that wants to talk to us about the case. But, you know, I just want to,
Might have to go to live.
Good call.
I do want to, you know, say that, you know, we, you know, personally will have theories, but we don't, you know, we as the podcast, we don't know. We don't have an agenda. We're not working for anybody. We'll have you on. We'll have everyone on that wants to come and talk about this. But
of the screen.
When it does that.
But anyway, so to that point, yeah. So she's.
I just want to, and again, I've probably, I mean, in my bias, maybe just having a lot of conversation with her, but for that reason, I feel if she had something to do with it, why would she be advocating for it to be reinvestigated so hard? Is why it doesn't make a lot of sense to me now. I mean, is it possible? But I mean, who knows? But I mean, basically, this case is closed, and nobody's going to look at it. Why is she fighting so hard, saying, "Hey, my husband was killed"? So I don't know.
So I mean, once again, I could be speculative and kind of create my own agenda. They have kids, correct?
Yes, there's two. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those kids could be looking at the evidence on their own and coming up with their own ideas, and this could be to, you know, keep them thinking that, no, I'm still out there looking for them, or we still want answers to. And I mean, I'm not saying that she did it. I'm just saying that's devil's advocate to that scenario.
Right. And there's no clean recovery from this, no matter what the explanation ever is, whether he did it, somebody else did it. Like, this family is scarred forever. Like,
sure. And it's going to haunt them forever, because unfortunately we live in a small town where there's nothing else to talk about except this one thing that happened almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. And the groupies online that don't have anything better to do, that just want to continue bringing it up. Like, yeah.
Well, I think what happens with that, and it's kind of like extreme politics, is like they actually make it worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They don't bring attention to the case. They just make it. Like,
and I guess it's one of the biggest aggravating things. So where am I looking? Linda Bowers and Mike Costello. All right, I have zero evidence. And don't, you know, I've never blamed you. But you guys have Linda Bowers, you have political influence. All right, fight for the right thing. Fight if he did it to himself, fight for it to be proven so. If he was murdered, help the family. It makes no sense to me to continue to have these battles with each other.
Yeah, I agree. I think I mean, but honestly, everything that they've done is so attacked. I mean, the things that Victoria has said about them, like even the idea that, and once again, this is outside. This is the fact that, you know, Victoria would say, "I've never been friends with her," or anything of that nature. Like, I mean, realistically, I think the chances of that are slim. I think they did have a friendship. I think at least a general like kindness towards each other. They probably knew a lot about each other. I don't think it's like this like weird relationship where like she never comes around the trustees and, you know, don't have any kind of. In fact, I don't know. George said they went on a trip together, or they were on part of a large group trip together to New York or something, and were on a bus next to each other for 8 hours or 5 hours or whatever.
For a mission trip or.
So I think the idea that she dispels that they had any kind of friendship and kind of like talks poorly about Linda. I mean, if I was Linda, I would just shut up and walk away too, because especially if don't have anything to do with it. I have no reason to battle this woman. Like, I would stay away from it.
Yeah.
The other aspect of it, from my understanding, is there's been some attacks towards Linda from local residents that, because of all the stuff that's out there, think that she's somehow involved, and there's been some stalking charges or something that I heard. I don't know.
So the interesting thing is, if you listen, it's brought up in the interview that she's being recorded in, and the person that's recording it, there's going to be more information coming out. Apparently, there was a message that was posted for like 30 seconds, and the person deleted it within 30 seconds. Somehow Linda screenshots it or whatever, goes to the police or whatever. And the guy admits, that I posted, I was heated and I took it down immediately. So supposedly, I'm still waiting for the records. Supposedly even the police are like, how did she even see this? It was posted for 30 seconds. But that's I believe the incident you're talking about.
There was also, is there an incident where she was followed into a Walgreens or something to that nature? Or
I do not know that.
I don't know. Either way, what this is the part of all this, going back to obviously we don't know the Macron family, but even the others around it, the trustees that are no longer in office, they still live regular lives, they still have kids, grandkids, etc. The amount of speculation towards either side and towards all these different things is just creating these difficult situations. And in today's society where we live, in the idea that somebody was just willing to take a shot at a guy who in Utah on a college campus, or at a president, or the people that have been abused and beaten in these riots and stuff like that. It's like, you don't need any reason to trigger anybody in today's day and words. Or a party gets thrown for juveniles and they shoot 9 kids. Like, I mean, the stuff that's going on in the world is just fucking sick. So for anybody that's out there, regardless of what side of the beliefs you're on, like, help get to the bottom of it. Doesn't have to mean that there's got to be threats and violence and stuff around it. Anything else to add to this? I mean,
what else are you working on outside of this case?
Can I wrap up real quick with one other final point?
Okay. Yeah.
There's 67 days that he's missing. Autopsy performed by the Cuyahoga County medical examiner and the coroner in Medina County, Lisa, I can't pronounce her name, Deneric, doesn't even attend the autopsy. His report says early decomp. Her report says severe. Those are the 2 documents I have there. Her report says severe decomposition. His says early decomposition. Photos show early decomposition. Most importantly, the photos do not show emaciation. They do not show freeze-thaw damage. They do not show scavenger injuries. So my question is, because everybody says, I believe George was even saying that he curled up on the side and was washed into the lake. Well, if he's on the land, his body is going to have scavenger. I don't care if it's the winter or not. You're going to have scavenger feeding off the body. If you're in the water, you're going to have a lot more bloatation. You're going to have emaciation, the cracking of the skin. His body does not match 67 days missing, which is another weird thing to me.
So as far as scavenger bites, I would agree normally. The only thing I would say is, depending on where he walked in, what the area was around it, was it muck or something of that nature? Maybe something wasn't willing to walk out there and get to him. I don't know where he walked or where he ended up or whatever, because unfortunately we don't know that information. But if he would have walked into the water even 1.5 feet, I mean, you're gonna be limited to the scavengers that are gonna come out there in freezing 5 degrees it was that morning.
Well, that's the morning of, but to that point, 67 days. Like, you'd look at the weather.
The weather actually got up to like 45, 50 degrees, which is why I'm curious, because when that happens, it's called freeze thaw. It's where your skin starts to have major like cuts, gaps. There's none. So he's in this freezing, whether he's on the ground or in the lake, whatever. There's no freeze thaw damage on his body whatsoever.
Yeah, but how much did he actually thaw? Because at that point, Chippewa Lake at 5 degrees outside, at that point, the lake was probably pretty close to frozen, I would imagine. But
then you're saying he's in the water.
Yeah. Well,
because I don't know. Flotation, he would have.
Well, I don't know where. I don't know where he went into, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, I get it. Saying that he passed out and washed in. That's why he didn't have water in the lungs, etc. There's a lot of suspicious to that as well, because it is weird that there was nothing that chewed on him at all. I mean, it's Chippewa Lake. Who knows what's out there?
Bigfoot. Bigfoot would have got him. Well, and it's other than just, that was the one thing George was pretty certain of was, the eagles weren't there. So, okay, but what about coyotes?
Well, exactly.
Coyotes,
yeah. Like, and I mean, it's so hard to tell, dude, because once again, we don't know where he went. We're making assumptions.
Well, we know he didn't die in the water.
Right. We know he didn't die in the water, but we don't even know if he drove himself to the lake.
Right.
Well, we're saying a jogger saw him walking with a sweater on or whatever. I mean,
a hoodie.
Yeah. Which I mean, I could see a sweater and think hoodie.
That's another person I would love to speak with, but she won't return my calls. Maybe you guys have better luck. Maybe if you try to reach out to Connie,
I don't know,
because I would love to. Because she actually mentions in her first interview that there was actually a second vehicle further down. And nobody even bothered to ask her what kind of car it was.
The problem is it's been 10 years.
No,
You've missed those opportunities. I mean, going back and doing it now, unless they're, because it's what do they call it when you hear the same thing so many times you start to believe it?
Like the Mandela effect.
Well, because kind of.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so she has been asked, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? Well, maybe I did see that. I think I passed somebody. Maybe they were a bigger guy. Yeah. I think he had a hoodie on. It wasn't dressed for the weather.
Yeah.
Like, and then now you go back 10 years later. It's not like she's going to be like, I remember that morning vividly. I was walking. A guy had a mustache and he had a small goatee, blonde hair. He's about 272 pounds. And
you triggered something.
One other quick thing that I want to point out, and I'll be quiet. There's also a female I interviewed her that's on Bungalow Bay, and this happens at 4:00 in the morning. She hears what she believes is a large fight happening down by the beach area where Bryan's car is found at 4:00 in the morning. She thinks it's so loud that she thinks that it's coming up towards her house on Bungalow Bay. It's a young girl. She ends up telling her mom. Her mom sort of blows her off, thinking that she had a bad dream or whatever. But then she hears the next day about Bryan's car being down there. She calls and leaves a message for Detective Cartwright. Detective Cartwright, according to her, never even calls her back.
Did anybody verify that she actually made that call?
I did do public records request to see if they had received anything. They stated that they didn't have anything.
Well, the reason I ask that is, unfortunately, and this is probably something that's specifically around cold cases, is the desire to be involved.
When she actually reported this, I think around the time BCI started. I mean, I still get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Where's she been for 7 or 8 years? But now she's willing to tell
this
you.
was back then.
Yeah,
well, she's saying 10 years later, she's telling him that she made this call, right?
Correct. But Paul Hartman spoke to her around the time, I think, when BCI was relooking at this case. It's still, I mean, it's still to your point. It could still be possibly, but it's odd that both. I spoke to the mother and the daughter,
and they both
concur. Yeah,
it's super interesting.
Mm.
All right, anything else you want to add to this? We talked a lot about. I mean, we walked through the whole case. I didn't expect to get that much in detail, but I mean, it's hard not to when you start to like pull all this different stuff up. And
I'm just trying to show receipts.
Yeah,
you form your own opinion.
No, I mean, you did a great job. I mean, you did a great job of making me have no clue once again if I'm right or wrong. I mean, unfortunately, somebody knows the truth.
Absolutely, yeah.
The other aspect of this, though, when people talk conspiracy around all these people that were involved or know when it comes to like the Nexus pipeline or the township trustees had something to do with it. I think that you brought it up. That would include if you were saying that the sheriff's department specifically did this because of Linda Bowers and Linda Bowers created this whole scenario or something. There'd be a lot of secrets being kept for 10 years without anybody coming out. It's like, I don't know if local township has that capability.
No, and there's not a single cop, I think, in the department that would not want to solve this case if there was a case to solve. Like, there's not anybody.
Well, that's the thing. Like, George brought up Grice as the sheriff. Like, maybe, would he
inheriting
take a look
this,
at it
right.
and inheriting this case and all this? If I was Grice and I thought there was a chance that I could prove anything else happened, of course I would. That's like a trip to the governor's office.
Tomorrow you're governor.
Know what I mean? Yeah, 100%. You're beating Vivek because you just solved some crazy case.
Yeah. That people have been fighting over online every day for 10 years now.
Right. So I don't think anybody doesn't want to get answers. I think you're right. When people say, there's so much documentation and there's so many pieces of evidence. Yeah, there might be, but how much of it came too late?
Correct.
Too late,
Yeah.
right? It didn't come the day of. It didn't. And there's no argument for me that the day of, I personally would have probably done more than it looks like we did initially.
One thing we talked about quite a bit would be, and this was just going off of George Starsky's report of the previous sheriff calling off the search. Like, why do you think he did that?
I really, and that's honestly probably, I think there's two things. I can't remember what the other thing is that George and I agree on. I have no idea. There were search parties. I've spoken to the search parties. There were Marine Corps search parties. There was a K-9 unit that actually helped me with my serial killer from East Cleveland. They were ready to go. They actually had everything gridded off. They had everything mapped out. I have no idea. I have no idea why. Well, I mean, at that point, the sheriff's office had this rumor that he was wandering around in California. Where that came from, I have no idea. And whether
there's like a business card or something is where that all started from. That might have been your episode that I listened to. That you're like, that's the only thing related to California.
It is. It was a I think a business contact or something from California. That was the only.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Unless Tom Miller legitimately felt it to his bone that it was just a total waste of resource because he's wandering around sipping on Napa Valley wine. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah. That's pretty strange. Like, I mean, I get it from a resource management perspective, but yeah, you've got volunteers at this point that want to go out and
once again, though, even then solving the murder or solving what happened would have been a benefit to him.
And the park rangers,
like, nobody's going to stop you from giving you the resources to find a body, right? I mean, you're in East Cleveland. Right? Is somebody going to tell you like, hey, call off the search. It's cold. We don't want to invest the money in finding a body. I mean, look what people invested into Gabby Petito when she took off missing.
If nothing else, just to cross it off the list.
Right.
Hey, we had 3 different organizations down here. We attempted.
Yeah, because now look at the resources you've done since then. Because that morning, if they would, I mean, even George sat there and said if they would have done that search, they most likely would have found him. Or if they didn't, and then 2 months later he showed up, then you would have had a different aspect of things, right?
Well, it's that, and or of course, then to just be a little more direct about it. Like, you would not do that for some reason if you knew 100% that the body wasn't there during that time. Bum bum bum. Like, like that would be the only other reason,
right?
Like, because I think he was quoted as saying, "There's no way that he is there. Like, we know he's not there."
I will tell you, and I'm sure you guys can equally find the same ones. They don't want to come on my show. I've talked to at least 12 different residents from Chippewa Lake that they all have the same story. As soon as they saw Bryan's car, everybody started walking around the entire lake, including Westfield Landing. I mean, they swear up and down. They're like, we would have saw his body anywhere. We looked everywhere. So I don't know.
I don't doubt that. I mean, Chippewa Lake's got some busy bodies in it that would have loved to find a dead body.
Yeah. I mean, well, and as part of that, like if he just went and laid down on the side and he later floated in, he'd have been visible. I don't think there was a blizzard. I know it was. I mean, I shared with.
It just depends on where he went. We don't even know where he actually went because there's no blood at the scene. We don't even know which direction he went in.
Right.
You know
well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, it definitely, I know because I'm originally from Southern California. I had family from Southern California, and ironically during that week, and I do remember just because of them, they were freezing to death. Like, why the fuck did you move here? It is cold here. And it was actually snowing. I actually felt, a little bit bad, but I remember we probably had, on one of the nights, I could go back and look at it. I want to say it might have been the Thursday before. It might have been the Friday of, I'm not sure exactly, but I can look at that. I know we probably had 3 inches of snow, but to Californians, it's like, oh my God, it's a blizzard. It wasn't a blizzard. It's certainly not enough to cover up a body.
Well, yeah. And that just goes back to, was the body there or did his car just get dropped off there?
Yeah. His body ended up there
that was
later.
sort of my question about the jogger. If she saw an additional vehicle parked further down, was that the pickup vehicle? Was that the drop-up vehicle? But she was never asked any relative question to it.
Even if it was his plan to go out like that, he had to have assistance. There's no way somebody could have staged that entire scene and set up by themselves.
I would agree. There is no evidence that I can find that he did it himself. There's a lot of evidence. I mean, he had plans and so on and so forth. I'm still not discounting it. It's very possible still. Right. But you're absolutely right. I've actually thought about that also. Did he have assistance? Did somebody assist him with it.
Do you know if anybody has like anyone else? I'm not saying one way or the other what type of people these were, but there's some claims that he had relationships with other people other than his wife. Have any of those people ever come public?
I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, we completely skipped over that. All right, so there's the peeping Tom show lady from Brook Park that makes this initial call, and from what I understand, that at least that's the only evidence that I have come across in this case relative to his supposed alternate lifestyle. But very ironically, later on, they attempt to recontact her because apparently she just leaves this short message. They attempt to recontact her. I'm sorry, there is a recorded phone call from her, but they attempt to recontact her to actually do an interview, and she wants nothing to do with it. She won't talk to him from then on.
This is just a woman.
Yes.
Call girl, whatever. So no
Peeping
no.
Tom girl?
No. I'm sorry. I thought you guys knew. She worked in an adult bookstore.
Okay.
And supposedly when she saw Bryan's billboard, apparently it was a billboard about him being missing. She identified him as being a patron of the adult bookstore.
Gotcha.
That would go in rooms. But here's my thing.
Oh, once again, there'd be proof of that, I would assume.
Let's assume. Let's pretend that and I don't. Again, there's no evidence indicating that he is. But let's pretend that he is homosexual. It's 2016. Who cares?
I don't think.
Would you end your life? And there's no evidence showing that he was being outed or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
So
to me, it's not irrelevant, but it dispels some of the rumors. Like it dispels some of the credibility towards a lot of the conspiracies when it comes around like the pipeline and things like that, because like people will say, oh, he was doing this, he was fighting this. It seemed like Bryan was more interested in not being around the township the last couple of months or not being a part of like major impact.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because I did see that your point, and I didn't bring it.
No, it's okay. I was actually going to reach out and try to get the records.
Well, did you
specifically?
No,
I saw the one that you posted of the special meetings that he missed.
Right.
But he made, I think, all but one of the two of the regular meetings.
Correct. So again, December's his busy season. He was traveling a lot. And from my understanding, Linda Bowers and Costello would schedule, which was on that sheet, they would schedule all these special or emergency meetings while he was away. Now, whether they did it on purpose, I don't know.
I mean, because I don't have all his flight travel. I don't know if he was really away that weekend or if he just wasn't there, if he was away for work. He said he was transitioning. When did he transition out of the other job? When, you know what I mean? Because if you went back 3 months or 4 months, because there was a point in time where he didn't have a job, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So if I'm in that same month and I see that he's not in office multiple times, then. And I didn't go down that rabbit hole and spend the time developing it. I mean, I actually thought about going to
It was part of George's timeline is that, he was AWOL like 2/3 of the meetings.
The firefighters will tell you he was out doing door-to-door campaigning with them.
But was it true that the flyers that he was supposed to hand out were in his car when he was found?
I am told that there was a ton of flyers and that he handed the majority of those out.
Okay, that was just,
and that there were some excess essentially that was
so
left.
he was in support of the fire levy, as far as you know.
I mean, I don't know why firemen would lie to me.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's the weird part, because then I mean, it went past. It went through.
The fire thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he was in support of it though.
The flyers are in support of the levy.
Right. That's what I'm saying though. Against. Like if it was already going to pass, why was he missing for a couple of those votes? At least that's what George said leading up to it, as far as getting it on the levy and things like that. Did he miss out on those votes? Is that what we said?
No, I don't. That's not what he was saying. Is that he was just establishing that his lifestyle was what was taking him away from. Maybe we need to go back and watch the episode of George Starsky. Sorry. All right, I'll stop being dramatic there. No, but that he was, I think, if we go back and watch it, I believe his point was that he was flying around meeting various people in other places, and that he would miss meetings because he was off, doing things in his alternative lifestyle.
Gotcha.
And I do recall that he did fly out to New York. Apparently, I think the guy's name is Carmine. Apparently, they were best friends, and he flew out to see him at some point in New York. And if I recall, watching the previous video. I think he said that he went out to New York for his alternative lifestyle. But that, again, if he's talking about Carmine, that's his best friend. I mean, unless something's more to it than I know. I don't know. But,
Yeah, I think that was not necessarily, to your point, it being 2016, who cares? Like, nobody cares.
I don't think it's relevant really. And unless and even if so, unless that drove motive for whatever. I mean, it's I don't want to continue to just accuse random people of
but so the
being
question
involved,
was, so nobody has like come forward and has said, I was in a relationship with this guy since. Like, there's no records of anybody calling in and saying, hey.
No, the only thing from my knowledge is the Peeping Tom woman. I call her the Peeping Tom woman.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Well, and here's the other part. This goes back to the evidence that's acquired, right? So we can only get what's public record. None of us work for the police force. None of us have the ability to subpoena records or create. So we can't go back.
Well, we do have the ability to FOIA records, which is how Scott has all of this stuff. Is
right, but I'm saying nobody has the power to go back and get his travel for the 365 days leading.
Only if it's in
Right,
police
that's
reports.
what I'm saying.
Right.
So if the cops didn't find the need to go through that, we can't go back and get his flight records.
Yeah, and that's the aggravating thing. Yeah, all these things that they should have done.
Right,
yeah,
they didn't do.
This thing should be 150 gig instead of
right.
Yeah.
Because if we had his travel records dating back a year and they're not associated with any meetings in his calendar dating back a year, well, now we could start to think that he was going to. Oh, he went to the same place 25 times.
Well, yeah, and it was probably not important because it was probably business travel, or they just decided, well, we don't care if he flew over here to, meet a girl, a guy, or whomever. It's not relevant. Like, it wasn't.
It wasn't relevant at that time.
It wasn't relevant to the investigation of him being missing.
Well, it could have been.
Well, they have his banking.
What if it was a lover that he had a relationship with in Florida, and he wouldn't leave him or her, and so he came back here and murdered him?
Well,
I'm just saying, like
that would be in the cell phone. That would be in the cell phone data there. I mean,
maybe
that
some
would
of
be.
that was deleted, and we don't have pings dating back, 6 months.
I mean, there are just so. I don't want it to be stating false or misleading things. There still is cell phone records.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my point was why was someone? I mean, there are still like call records and stuff that were subpoenaed. But my point was, why is everybody deleting like his calendar entries, his text messages from his phone?
Right, correct. And then we couldn't recover all of that.
Yeah.
Right, or not we personally, but whatever, it can be recovered. So then it's fugazi. It's wasted.
Fugazi.
It's
my favorite word.
Let's get over to the. I know me too lately.
Yeah,
a lot.
You could just if I had a time machine, I would have gone back and I would have registered www.fugazi.com, and that would have been the name of this podcast and everything I've ever done, everything we've ever done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been on 3 hours and 20 minutes.
I told you this would be our longest episode ever.
I didn't see it. Let's go over what your because you just had some big news recently on a case that you were involved in, and you touched on it briefly. But
I appreciate it. Yeah. Christion Olson, which is actually a homicide out of Brunswick Hills, 18-year-old kid. The podcast Crime Junkie. I believe the family initiated some sort of conversation with them, but they reached out to me. I had covered, I've got like 4 or 5 episodes that I had covered, and they are using some of my material on their YouTube and podcast that they just released today. So sort of excited about that.
Crime Junkie. Never heard of the podcast ever. It's just like a couple kids like at their parents' house. What?
No, it's actually 2 females.
I know. This is complete sarcasm right here. Hey, Crime Junkie podcast. We'll collab with you guys if you ask nicely. You better ask nicely. We'll completely.
So you've already done quite a bit. What? So once again, under a rock. I mean, I've seen the posters and stuff around missing, and that was he found eventually?
Christion Olson?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was actually, he was found actually right several houses down. He had a get-together in Brunswick Hills with a couple of friends. They actually drove him to their house. This is the first time that Christion was at this house. They're there, by all accounts, just basically hanging out. And all of a sudden, at some point, there's a girl that he used to date. Her name's Becca. She's actually talked to me several times. I mean, I don't think she's trying to hide or anything, but apparently she accuses him of perhaps cheating on her. They get in a somewhat of an argument, not like, pushing or anything like that or anything.
Oh,
physical.
she was there?
Yes.
Okay.
So she leaves, and then apparently, by all accounts, he gets upset. He leaves, and about 2:00 in the morning, for whatever reason, this is where it becomes very interesting. Because I've been down there, you can't see where he was found, so I have no idea. But they go out looking for him and find him at this driveway. And in the driveway, it's actually on the front lawn of this house. And there's two people that are standing over him. And they're like, yeah, the guy was knocking on our door asking for help. We thought, he might be breaking in. They got a knife or something because they thought he was breaking in. The kids actually tried to call 911. They even showed officers. The officers put it in the report. For whatever reason, it did not go through. So, the two kids basically describe, hey, this truck pulls up. Bunch of people get out of the truck. They throw him in the truck. And they they do contact his brother. They don't really describe to his brother what's happened or what's going on. They say he's drunk. So his brother's just like, well, just bring him home. On the way home, they stop at the Bunker Hill Golf Course. They get another person involved. They claimed because he was getting sick, was throwing up or whatever. They put him in the car. So instead of a 20-minute trip, now we're talking an hour ride back to his house in Medina. And by the time he gets to Medina, he's basically not talking. The parents are there. He's not saying much. Everybody there from the friend's house keeps saying that he's drunk. Dad's like, he looks like he's got a boot print or something on his face. What do you mean? He looks like he's beat up. And they keep saying, no, nothing happened. He's drunk. So long story short, he got blunt force trauma, homicide. And there was a period where the police department was telling, along with the prosecutors, and I have to, if you're watching, Mr. and Mrs. Olson, I greatly apologize because they came to me and said, hey, they told us to be quiet about this. They told us that they didn't want any media coverage of this. And I didn't honestly believe them because I actually know the police chief of Brunswick Hills personally. And they're like, well, we have it on recording. And they let me listen to the audio recording of both Forrest Thompson, the county prosecutor, and the police chief, indicating to them to be quiet, not talk to the media, which I was completely for it. I have no idea why you would do that. But anyways, we're still at pretty much zero leads on how this happened. Now, the kids at the house, one of them's already...
Did you just do that on purpose?
I'm sorry?
Did you just mention Forrest Thompson on purpose?
Am I not supposed to?
Was it he, the prosecutor involving the other? Yeah.
Well, yes.
That's right.
Well,
I thought you were just, I was like, did he just throw a little snooging in there?
Honestly, that wasn't the reason why, though.
But he's involved with this case at all. So, I mean, being quiet, though, I mean, we're hearing the government say that, the FBI say that about the Charlie Kirk case right now, though. He's telling everybody to be quiet, right? So is there a real benefit to them being quiet around evidence?
I have never seen any benefit. As a seasoned homicide investigator, put it out as much as possible. The way you get someone to come forward, whether it be the suspect or someone who knows what happened, is to apply pressure. And you're not going to apply pressure by being quiet. It's going to have the opposite effect. They're going to say, right. Oh, they're not looking for me. I don't care.
Right.
And it's going to go completely the opposite direction. The only way you get somebody to come in and cooperate is to apply pressure and think, hey, who's going to be knocking on my door? When's it going to happen? So
yeah, and the other way, I mean, and that's how people speak up. If those 4 or 5 kids that are involved in that whole night have any kind of idea that they're going to be listed, like they're going to ride out the other guy.
Yes.
And the longer you wait, we already know what happens when you don't have evidence.
Right.
But that's a terrible story. I didn't know. So, wow. So we don't even know. That whole entire thing could be made up. And they could have tried to call 911 and they just hung up as soon as they hit the dial button.
Correct. I mean, it did show apparently on their call log that they called 911, but yeah.
Yeah, I could literally just pick the phone and hang up immediately so that it doesn't go through. Man, well, hopefully that's
If
when
you're
you get to
interested,
the
I'm sure that
bottom.
I can get the family.
Yeah, I mean,
They want to get the story out. So
yeah, we'd love to have him on and talk about that because it goes to show, and this is a sleepy town. I mean, realistically, Medina, Brunswick Hills, but it sounds like we're taking it for advantage when it comes to our police forces, and maybe that's something that a little pressure needs to be applied. And I know there's a mayor candidate race going on, so that's part of their responsibility is keeping this community safe. We can't have kids disappear.
I don't understand the reluctance just to ask for assistance. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think that can go towards that profession could tend to bring, overconfident, overzealous people, and maybe they're stepping outside their lane. And they're not something, and they don't want to ask for help because it looks bad. But we're talking about lives here. So he ended up passing, I'm assuming, after that, huh?
Yeah, he actually passed, I think, the following morning. He
18
passed.
ye's old.
Yes.
That's awful, man.
Just graduated, literally.
Yeah, that's awful. Man, it's too young to go.
Yeah.
It's like people, I don't know if it's like we just became less genuine as humans, but it's like life is at its least overall value right now.
Technology, media, social media out there in particular, you can go online and kids do that, like you remember, I know in our age group, we remember the Faces of Death videos.
Oh yeah.
Those were like, yeah, you were like my little brother's age, like, and so, I would torment him like, oh yeah, these videos, when you got a hold of one of those, like, here's one of some guy getting his head cut off. I'm like, what? No way, and, you get everybody over at your house to show it and, and you're just completely messed up over it. Like that was gnarly. Well, now that's right here on the phone. Like, so yeah, people are getting desensitized to that for sure.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So is that the next journey for you is to spend some time on that and trying to start going through some of this stuff? Will you start capturing records and stuff, or is it a little bit harder because it's still an open case?
Correct, because it is open and it is harder. I have wanted to get back on it. At the same time, I'm like fighting a battle because I don't want to, if Brunswick Hills is legitimately trying to do something, I don't want to interfere with their investigation.
Right.
So I've been trying to gauge it with the family, depending on, at certain times the family thinks that Brunswick Hills is doing something, and then other times they don't. So I don't want to basically bring it back up and get interference with whatever they have going on. But, I also have the Don Pasella case. That's another case that I was working on. And people from, I don't know if you guys heard about the Manaway police chief. That's the last thing I've been.
I saw a couple of your videos on that. What is the scenario on that?
So he has a relationship with a subordinate officer, and the village actually pays, I think, $5,000, somewhere around there, to have some sort of attorneys come out and tell them that he's not violating any policy or anything of that nature. This new mayor gets elected over there, and she's essentially just starts doesn't appreciate, doesn't like what's going on. Almost.
Were they still in the relationship? I'm assuming at that point.
Yeah, they're still in a relationship.
Oh, they're still in it to this day. Oh,
yes.
So this isn't like a take advantage of the Me Too movement. This is a relationship that the mayor just doesn't like.
Correct. And so the mayor actually almost, I've got emails, I've got all sorts of people calling me about this. The mayor essentially was running the police department, totally, subverting the police chief. Anyways, they have this 12-hour hearing, and you could tell, like, within the first 3 hours, I knew, I'm like, yeah, this council's going to fire him because of just the way that they're asking questions or whatever.
On the police chief.
But if you actually look at the evidence presented, like, I don't even know if it would have warranted a suspension. So there's, like, no evidence that he did anything wrong, and they terminate him. So
do they have a policy that strictly prohibits it?
There is a nepotism policy. It just basically talks about how it's not an ideal thing,
right?
But it doesn't forbid him to have a relationship,
right? Nepotism meaning that, like, so looking at the other
Favoritism.
person. Yeah, favoritism for promotion, for employment, stuff like that.
Correct. And there's no evidence that
There's
he did
no evidence
anything
of
of
any
that
of that.
nature. So at least it was presented
Yeah.
during his hearing.
So what's going on? Is the town an uproar over this?
Oh, they are. And that is the irony thing is when I was there, like the residents were just like vocal, very vocal. They were actually interrupting the hearing. The residents were there until 6 o'clock in the morning. I left at 3, like everything had died that I had, I was live streaming at one point. Everything I had died, but the residents stayed until 6 o'clock in the morning and were disrupting the hearing the entire time.
Filibuster.
So I mean, it's ironic to me because it's not I don't know how many residents are actually in Manaway. It's not real large, and the room was filled full of residents. So if I was the mayor, I'd be like, wow, maybe I shouldn't do this because I mean, you probably have enough people to vote you out of office that were sitting in the in the meeting. So I don't know.
And she's probably got her own person she wants for the position is probably what it's
You
really
mean she's
about.
got nepotism?
She probably, well, she's not the chief. So
I mean, there you go. If she hires the next chief, a deep dive into who he is in the relationship is, I mean, that's the next video.
are you following the case out in North Royalton? Are you familiar with that one, the OVI case?
I vaguely, it was sent to me. I get like all these emails from a lot of people. It was sent to me. It's something that I probably do want to look at.
That one seems pretty interesting. I don't think I told you about that one, but so you have a officer who's he's a boot. He's pretty early on, but he does a stop on I believe it was the deputy chief of another township, Orange, which I think is up like near Mayfield somewhere.
Yeah, it's right off of 271. If you know where Red Lobster is, that's where Orange is.
By point of reference,
Yes.
Get off at the Red Lobster and avoid this guy. So North Royalton officer stops deputy chief up there who is visibly wasted. So detains him. He refuses tests, but he's got enough visual evidence, so detains him on the OVI. Has 3 firearms in the car. So then he cites him for the felony charges, which is funny as we're just talking about another case that we know about. But felony arrest on it, submits the case and everything, then gets an update from the prosecutor's office that they're moving forward with the OVI charges. Says nothing about the felony charges. He goes back. His report's been completely modified, and they removed the felony charges. Didn't decide that not only decided they're not going to prosecute them, but went back and changed his report. To which then, of course, he did
Would there not have been a citation associated with it that would have not matched the report? I don't know.
So that's $1 million. Okay, so now we're going to rewind back to the olden days where we had a piece of paper that we used to pull out, and we would do this, and then we had a copy which ended up on the dresser at the end of the night. But that's not how things are done nowadays. Like what you should do is when you do that, maybe this guy did this. I'm going to assume that he did this. But the good news is that the system tracks those changes. So it's they can go through and they can delete it, but it also tracks the deletions. So
there's audits. It literally, you can go in and even if you just like add something or make a correction of your own report, it will audit and say, S. Gardner did this, and
So I work with a company. That's what we do. We do security software for private security companies and things like that. TrackTick. I don't know if you ever heard of it or not, but anyhow,
what is it called?
TrackTick. It's under TrackForce.
Is that the same thing as? Oh boy, I gotta look.
There used to be SilverTrack, GuardTech,
Guardmetrics.
No, not Guardmetrics.
Do you know about Guardmetrics?
Yeah, know about them.
We'll talk afterwards.
All right. But it always keeps the previous record that way. No matter how many times you edit it, you could always go back and see what the original copy.
So anyway, so he went directly to county prosecutor's office and filed a complaint immediately on it. So this is sticky because
I'm also very eager to see. As the beginning of your show, I'm a big fan of Mike O'Malley, the Cuyahoga County prosecutor. So I'm really eager to see what he does with this case.
Yeah, because this would be his jurisdiction.
Yes.
And
But
possibly
anything on
even
the
this-
west side, I guarantee he won't do anything with.
Yeah.
That's just my
personal belief.
I can almost guarantee there will be no charges filed for Mike O'Malley on this. But
That'll be interesting. Oh, that'll be another story.
Yeah.
But yes, I am actually very interested in that because I mean that's just way overboard. It's not even like somebody went, like the chief went and to the officer and said, "Hey,
Help
do you
me out."
mind
Well,
doing this?" I mean, they literally went behind the officer's back, changed his report. I mean, that's
big-
criminal if anything's criminal.
yeah, it's tampering. It's tampering with evidence,
Yeah.
which is a felony in itself.
Yeah.
So that's whomever did that should be charged, could be charged.
Well, see, if you don't
possibly.
follow it and you don't follow it, if there's not, a dozen people out there that specifically dial this in, it'd be old news by next week and nobody would be paying attention.
Well,
'Cause
if
I don't see the news.
the
actually-
girls at Crime Junkies don't jump on this with their meager little 8.2 million followers
Yeah.
that regularly view their stuff, then they're going to get scooped by the Guys Night podcast
Right.
and also the infamous ex-chief.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm glad you came out, man. That was an awesome podcast. It was great hearing all that you're doing.
If we go for another 20 minutes, it'll be 4 hours.
good on that.
You good? I'll get
We
you another
definitely
one
have
of
to do
these
this again.
caffeine packets for your water there. And bump you back up a little.
We'll definitely have to do this again, though. And the more, interesting stuff that you do, we'll be following it and definitely sharing it. It was awesome having, George come on and tell about his book, and then you come on with the evidence side of things. It's great to look at different points of view, and everybody that's listening, if you didn't listen to the first one, listen to the George Starsky one. But you can listen to both aspects. And I mean, ultimately anybody listening could come up with their own ideas because there's just not enough evidence to support any of them.
I agree, and I think people think I'm just joking around or whatever. I mean, that's why I prefer showing the receipts and you telling me what happened, because maybe you might have something that I haven't thought of. Or
Well, I mean, that's the idea, right? Is you just sit around and talk things through, and at this table, nobody throws stuff at each other because they disagree. You just have that conversation, and maybe somebody looks at it differently, maybe they don't. Maybe David gets mad because I cut him off, and the podcast equipment pauses in the middle of his sentence.
Right.
But no, either way, it's great to know you and good to have you on. And we appreciate you driving out here, and hopefully we'll be able to do something again in the future. And if you ever need somebody to go out and do some footage for you, we are happy to come out and to shoot for you. So
I appreciate it
anytime.
Thank you.
Awesome. You got anything else, David?
It's going to take me about 20 minutes because I want to get to that 4-hour market. No, we're good. Yeah, Scott, appreciate having you on. This is a blast. We'll definitely do it again.
Awesome. Good night, everybody.
Good night.